My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California. Notice: intellectual property theft is particularly egregious and equally unlawful where the sole inventor and creator of the intellectual property is the targeted individual. Erica Lorraine Spencer, subject to the unconstitutional and inhumane government system of gang stalking, otherwise referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices, because of which the intellectual property created by the targeted individual, who is, in fact, Erica Lorraine Spencer, as the intellectual property also proves, serves to establish via evidence and expose the existence of criminal surveillance and thus an inherent threat posed by the U.S. government and the civilian population sharing engagement in the unlawful system. Such evidence, that includes all of the content created by Erica Lorraine Spencer, images, videos, audio, etc., belongs solely and entirely to Erica Lorraine Spencer only and is necessarily published online in order to protect her life, safety, and liberty as the targeted individual, who is also the intellectual property owner, no less protected from theft procured through targeting by a public entity. Theft of any intellectual property belonging to Erica Lorraine Spencer, which is necessarily committed while she, being both creator and inventor, remains oppressed by the public entity via criminal surveillance, is a criminal and inhumane means of infringement under all circumstances and not protected nor enforceable pursuant to any invalid or fraudulent acts of copyright, trademarks, patents, etc., including as it pertains to any ideas associated with or generated from the intellectual property or the intellectual property owner, Erica Lorraine Spencer, whether creative, business, or otherwise, nor does the intellectual property owner consent to any such means of infringement and theft. Erica Lorraine Spencer here. The following is an audio version of video evidence that is captured for purposes of mass distribution, which is why I am capturing it and sharing it on the podcast for evidentiary purposes and also to reveal the wealth of documentation that extends beyond what it is that I document on podcasts. Much of the video and images will be published onto the YouTube channel, the P.O.C, and it is also shared on the Google Drive. Again, this is for purposes of revealing what I remain subject to, which is federal group stalking and monitoring. It is a demonic system of state surveillance that the government is practicing in concert with the people of the state, and it should be known and well understood that for the government to engage in federal group stalking and monitoring, this is a crime that is committed with a criminal purpose to threaten the life of an American citizen. This is to conspire to murder and or permanently kidnap an American citizen while engaging in a perpetual sex offense in concert with the people of the state. All right, it is currently 10:13 a.m. And this is the documentation. This is the P.O.C. And this is documentation proving the existence of the P.O.C. Without any anomaly, without any exception, without any variables speaking to, for example, a prosecution of a state that's engaging in statewide surveillance and there being any possibility that the pattern of conduct as I've shown it, as I've established it, and evidence speaking to a consistent pattern of conduct, a consistent formula of behavior in an environment, and that environment is part of the behavior, the entity is engaging in a pattern of conduct which is accomplishing criminal surveillance by the government, not private citizens, not private businesses, and it's also malicious. Contrary to the external appearance of things, everyone is actually focused on the person who is indeed being kept under surveillance. And this is the evidence of that. This is the fake sun that is over my head. This is the same address where I'm at after 6 p.m. You're going to look at the pictures. The fake sun doesn't extend beyond where these demons who are pacing, where this demon that's operating the vehicle, okay, this demon that's walking in the hallway, license 26357C3, is a sex offender, and he's keeping a woman under surveillance in a hotel, and he's privy to everything concerning that woman's vagina. He's privy to the evidence that's being captured right now about his being a sex offender and a deviant, a predator and a stalker, and he's doing so in concert with the police department, the Ontario police. And sunlight doesn't appear in the shade. Sunlight doesn't appear beside a vehicle when you're driving under the sun. 26357C3 is monitoring, and he's also driving under a light source while the fake sun is remaining in a position that it is still here present after 6 p.m. And this is also someone that's conspiring my murder. That's the entity that's gang stalking as a population. Every business is sharing in that. And it's not based on business hours. The people of the state engage in surveillance in relevant position. They're doing so while being patrons at the venue. And the fake sun that is over me now is not going to be in the natural environment causing any sort of sunlight to appear in the shade like you saw, while you're listening to amplified noise by a demon that's monitoring at the venue. This is the employees gang stalking immigrants as well, subject to deportation. The entity is engaging in what is monitoring, if you'll recall, on August 22nd, 2025, where at 10:13 a.m. the sun would not be over the roof of RAMADA by WYNDHAM at 10:13 a.m. and let alone still here at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, which is what I captured yesterday. In addition, the fake sun is what is going to be present here and over the Ontario Town Square. Now, what you're looking at is a rapid change in the environment, and it's never the natural environment in the first place. And that's also how you know that all these people are aware of my presence. The malice of the entity is exhibited through the environment, through the impossible light activity, through the amplified noise, through the presence in an environment which is supernatural, which none of the demons that don't want you to know what they are and what they're doing are ignorant about. There's no sun that's over the Ontario Town Square, whether the demons cover it up. The entity keeps this fake sun, and this is why you document. And the entity is engaging in what is the provision of what is evidence to prosecute. That demon just drove in engineer light, and engineer light appeared in the shade, which is the pattern of conduct. And this is where demons are monitoring. These are sex offenders monitoring my vagina. RAMADA by WYNDHAM, Baymont by WYNDHAM, Days Inn by WYNDHAM, La Quinta Inn and Suites by WYNDHAM are gang stalking. And this is a sex offense while they're engaging in that P.O.C. It's 10:17 a.m. Excuse me? This is called crossing a path. It doesn't cause any earthquakes. It doesn't cause any earthquakes in the hotel. And this is also impunity. And you're looking at what is, again, not normal business practices as well. Something as disruptive is not what a hotel is going to engage in with regard to its patrons. This is somebody that is monitoring under a fake sun that's over me at the hotel. Gang stalking immigrants are being deported. The entity light activity at the venue. This is the P.O.C. All right, and that is an entity that is gang stalking people of the state that know who I am. That's light activity that you're seeing that's underway at a venue. The entity is keeping the fake sun at 224 North Euclid Avenue, where gang stalking immigrants engage in federal group stalking and monitoring. That's domestic terrorism on video, on the internet, in front of the federal government with impunity, as though engaging in terrorism in the United States is something that's going to be perfectly dealt with, slap with on the wrist, or no consequences whatsoever. This is exactly what federal prosecution, what federal legislation is going to address. This is state action as well. This impunity is based on the ways in which you're going to prosecute domestic terrorists in the United States who are violent sex offenders who conspire murder of American citizens, that they are gang stalking. And the sun is not over 224 North Euclid Avenue, where the Ontario police are stalking me by helicopter with a population of demons that exhibit the same impunity, monitoring an American citizen on video as though it is of no consequence. That is the entity that engages in that in conspiracy, in furtherance of conspiracy to murder. Gang stalking is not for no reason. The Ontario Police Department are not gang stalking me by helicopter, flying over me for over 20 minutes at the Ontario Town Square, August 22nd, 2022. That is not the sun that's going to be over this roof where a demon is stalking with amplified noise, crossing path with a bunch of other demons that are stalking with impossible light, aware of what I am, who I am, and what I'm doing, including inside of this hotel room. Making money off of it. That's the federal RICO case. But it's a federal RICO case against every business in California, okay? This is a state surveillance system, and it's a violent sex offense. It's an act of domestic terrorism and psychological torture. And it is that which is going to disband the Ontario police who are stalking by helicopter at 10:13 until 10:17 until I walk into the Ovid Family Community Library, which is creating no sunlight that a demon is going to drive in the shade, creating what is engineer light monitoring, just like this demon, engaged in the same pattern. And it's also not going to be over the roof of the same building where it's present at 2 in the afternoon as I captured, at 4 in the afternoon as I captured, at 6 where it does not extend beyond this street. Right here, G Street. This is P.O.C. RAMADA by WYNDHAM, and the impunity that I'm documenting by RAMADA is exhibited by the patrons and the employees alike. RAMADA is acting through the people of the state, and RAMADA is also an established, legally represents the people of the state. I'm going to prosecute as well. This is criminal conduct by the City of Ontario, the State of California. This is P.O.C. It's currently 10:19 a.m. This is all audible activity, light activity, relevant positioning. As you see, the demons engaging in that. These sex offenders have been monitoring my vagina all weekend. This is P.O.C.
I need the already $100 return, okay?
Okay. What is today? The 25th, right? August 25th? It's 11:18 a.m.
Yeah, 25th.
Okay. What's your guys' address here?
Here the car.
Oh, thank you.
What time you come today?
All right, so I already reserved that, so I'll give you that information when I get back, right?
I got your reservation.
So I don't need anything else? I'll just be back at...
Just come and you...
All right, so it is currently, as you can hear in the video, it's August 25th, 2025, and I'm referring to documentation that was captured 3 days ago, which is merely an example. It's merely illustrative of stalking under the fake sun, where criminal surveillance of a satanic nature and degree is ceaselessly underway. Satanic surveillance, criminal surveillance is sexually perverted, demented. It's illegitimate with regard to the government's interest, and the demons are engaging in what is trying to maintain an ongoing illusion regarding normal everyday society, and it's underway through every business in California, including RAMADA by WYNDHAM. License 8WTK934 is an example of that. Engaging in surveillance by packing up and leaving is their timing with regard to monitoring every move that I make. My move inside of the hotel room, including being in a position in the path. The demon possessed are basically taking shifts, making sure that any and everyone is maintaining presence in the environment. And this is what you're seeing as I exit the room. You'll see a Tesla truck. They stop on the side of the road while the fake sun is over the top of my head. And remember, the fake sun's no longer over my room, outside of my door. As I walk, what would be west on the I'm on the 3rd floor. That fake sun moves west over my head, and you'll see with my movement, this truck on the road stops on the side. They're stalking in the path as I stop unexpectedly in order to capture that fake sun moving as I move away from my hotel room. You will see that demon then make a U-turn as I zoom in and get that license plate. You'll see Ontario, the City of Ontario merchants engage in the same thing, stop on the side of the road in front of the same KFC, stopping in the path as I stop to capture again the fake sun that's moving away from my room. But it's over the same property. It's over the same property in alignment to me as it was after 6:30 p.m. yesterday. During the 2 p.m. hours I documented, during the 4 p.m. hours I documented, during the 11 a.m. hours I documented. It's currently 11:22 a.m. The people of the state engage in surveillance, packing up their property, coming onto the ground and doing so as I walk downstairs. This is the entity that is stalking in the path under a fake sun. This is mental illness. That's not closeted. Nothing about what the entity is doing under the fake sun is normal, random, coincidental. It's obsessive stalking, and it's psychopathic. 9GVD909, a Latina female wearing a blue shirt with 87 on the front, wearing dark glasses, engaging in gang stalking another woman. Homosexual behavior is what the entity is engaging in, and it's also satanic. They are obsessively monitoring my vagina. They're engaged in sexually perverted and motivated means of monitoring. That's in the shower, that's in the bathroom, that's with regard to every aspect. Remember, when I'm documenting sensational activity under my feet, all you're doing is looking at the faces of the demons that are gang stalking under the fake sun. You see them clear as day. A population stalking on the side of the road as I stop. That's City of Ontario merchants. That's a random demon driving in a Tesla truck, stalking in the path as that fake sun remains over me. These are demons that are engaged in that P.O.C. 6WRM701, 9MVY905. And these two elderly biddies engage in homosexual violence, 9GVD909. That's what you'll see in the images. They're monitoring, okay? They come onto the ground, and you can see the same thing. You'll witness the same thing. It's the same thing when a demon comes under the ground and engages in the commission of a delivery while they are stalking in the path. And that delivery is the outer guise of stalking with light activity, stalking with presence, and making sure that they are maintaining activity around me while I'm outside of the room walking around. They're doing the same thing when I'm inside of the room, but right now this is obsessive stalking in the path. If you were able to understand the purposes of what demons are doing, they are using what is the outer guise of sweeping, pushing a cart on the walkway that doesn't cause earthquakes inside of the hotel room. This is what demons are doing. As you saw that gang stalker on video, as you listened to me narrate that, that's the same activity that they're engaging obsessively as I get on the Wi-Fi, get off the Wi-Fi, upload documentation, think of anything damning like comparing the Ontario Police Department gang stalking me at the United States Postal Service and doing a screen recording here at RAMADA by WYNDHAM. The entity is engaging in what is stalking with sensational activity, which is never going to result by you pushing a car, but you saw a demon. Demons don't have races, but defendants do. And they also have citizenship statuses. They are subject to deportation by gang stalking. 9MVY905 is gang stalking with the gang stalking immigrants at this property. And this sex offender is also monitoring my vagina. So I did show you up close images of him because he's been monitoring my vagina the entire weekend, and he's monitoring right now under a fake sun that's over the west end of the property. An impossible light moves across the building while a demon behind me crosses path. That is 9GVD909, the two homosexual elderly women monitoring me with these demons at RAMADA by WYNDHAM. I'm going to show you the fake sun that's over me. I went downstairs a couple days ago in the middle of the afternoon. It was after 2 p.m. after I captured that video, and the fake sun's in the same position. This is where it is right now, and it is 11:25 a.m. where the entity is engaging in that P.O.C. of stalking in the path, all right? This is the entity that's engaged in that P.O.C. with impunity. Stalking, pushing that cart was a method of sensational activity. It's an act of impunity. It's actually psychopathic, while a demon-possessed person contains that rage actually is exhibited through sensational activity, amplified audible activity, and it's a demon's engagement in the pattern of conduct that they have at their disposal. Sensational, amplified audible activity, pushing the cart outside of the room, creating all manner of activity as I'm capturing video. And the Ontario Police, those demons do engage in what they have at their disposal using a helicopter by pacing over me under the fake sun at the same time, okay? As you're comparing the two videos of what's occurring on August 22nd, 2025 at 10:13 a.m. and what's happening at 1841 East G Street, where the fake sun remained as a matter of documentation, speaking to the pattern of conduct that's established at the Ovid Family Community Library, surveillance, where the documentation, you can even see it on my YouTube channel, I have a list of videos where you can see the fake sun at 7, at 10, at 11, at 12, at 2, at 4, at 6, and yet it's over my head outside of my hotel room window during the 4 p.m. hour, over my head at 10:13 a.m. at this venue, and on this day in 2024, it's outside of me, over my head, from sunrise until sunset at the Holiday Inn on Key Point Road in Hesperia, California, which is speaking to Holiday Inn that is engaged in gang stalking, as well as every other company, which is what my documentation shows, my evidence shows regarding innkeepers, which is relevant to whatever industry it is. Every business is engaged in surveillance. This is a government system, and we are under surveillance in the United States. In other words, they're sex offenders while they're keeping you under surveillance in a hotel room. There's no legitimate interest in a government monitoring your vagina. All right, and there's no legitimate interest in 9TSL020 monitoring every movement that I make, knowing about what it is that I'm doing, my physical movement. This is getting to what is not just surveillance using technology, communication devices under Title 18, Section 22618, subsections 1 and 2. These are demons. This is monitoring. This is not sunlight they're driving under. It's not the sun that they're driving under that remains over me while they drive under it, that has engineer light appear beside their vehicle and at a distance away as they surround me with that light activity. And then they want to be seen physically just loading and unloading old people in and out of their cars. Those demons are obsessively stalking, and that's mental illness. That's terrorism that you're going to prosecute businesses for. It's sexual violence that you're going to prosecute businesses for. It's psychological torture that you're going to prosecute businesses for. And gang stalking immigrants are subject to deportation, and no business is going to keep you in this country. 9PZG983 is stalking just like the demon in the Tesla is, with specific knowledge of who I am and what I'm doing. And the entity is doing so at a hotel where the fake sun is still present. 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8 hours hours from now, which is also how you know what it is that they're doing. And it's stalking, and it's obsessive, and it's satanic. And this is what the entity that is gang stalking through Jason Isaac Fields. This is a psychopath. This is a corrupt government actor who is engaging again, I want to make sure that it's abundantly clear. This is somebody that is utilizing witchcraft, that is engaging in ongoing psychopathic means of targeting me in the spirit. And the system of gang stalking is letting you know about the reality of witchcraft. This demon is also spiritually attacking. And then having some sort of delusion regarding like romantic interest in something. This is a rapist. This is literally a pedophile. He's a threat to children. He's a threat to women. He is a threat to himself. I believe I wouldn't say it's just a threat to women. He's a threat to people, period. He is a maniacal psychopath, and he has a maniacal level of addiction with sexual activity. He is mentally ill, and his perversion is related to his mental illness. He is gang stalking as I am subject to that pattern of conduct. The entity is engaging in what is targeting me based on the solicitation, based on the criminal conspiracy that Tracy Banks, his sex partner, my mom, somebody that is also not going to have any sort of access to me. She's going to federal prison, and so is Jason Isaac Fields. I want to make sure that it's understood, not only is this a criminal prosecution of the government, not only is this a criminal prosecution of the people of the state who are in the shoes of the government, it's recognizing that malicious system. You're understanding what is going to be necessary. It's exceeding a federal restraint. It's exceeding what is a restraining order. Jason Isaac Fields is a psychopath that's relying on and is being permitted to. He's still engaging in what is spiritually attacking. This is relevant to psychological torture while demons that are stalking throughout the population, keeping me under surveillance in a hotel room. And this demon utilized this because he thought that bullying me and gang stalking me was going to stop me from documenting, prosecuting at all. This is what the entity is engaged in while I am documenting, and this is where you have the Ontario police that are gang stalking. Don't forget the demons that are monitoring. The demons that are monitoring, including the Ontario Police at the United States Postal Service, at the Ontario Ovid Family Community Library. As I refer to Jason Isaac Fields, helicopter activity sounds. This demon is going to federal prison, and so is his sex partner, Tracy Banks, utilizing gang stalking as a means of trying to force a woman to do something which she's never going to do. License 87245Y3, and I want to be clear, it is a form of violence. It's an extreme form of violence. It exceeds domestic violence. It's violence committed by a public entity that is conspiring against the life of an American citizen. So when a pedophile like Jason Isaac Fields and Tracy Banks cannot get their way sexually, cannot get their way with regard to stealing property, they target you, defame you, and they target you through demons like the Ontario Police, who are providing evidence against every Sheraton's gang stalking, EVERHOME Suites, KFC, In-N-Out, Denny's, MOBIL. You already know that Southwest is. They're pacing in alignment to my room where the fake sun is still present 8 hours from now. And it's not a coincidence. It's the pattern of conduct letting you know who is going to be subject to a restraining order. And it's analogous to it because it's going to be an instrument created for purposes of a government that is keeping you under surveillance, trying to murder you, and who will never, ever be in your presence outside of any sort of federal law. And that is including not just Jason Isaac Fields, but this is somebody that's relying on witchcraft, practicing witchcraft with the demons of the Ontario Police. This is demonic activity. These are demons that summon demonic spirits. They're engaging in a satanic targeting system. They're stalking under a fake sun. That's demonic. They're stalking with methods of terrorizing and harassing methods of activity. That's helicopter activity, as I'm documenting. Their co-defendant, who's putting them in prison, Jason Isaac Fields, he's going to prison, and so are the gang stalkers of the Ontario Police, and so is Tracy Banks. This is what an entity is engaging in. This is the tactics, again, that Jason Isaac Fields has been employing since I've been documenting at Alvarado Gardens, okay? Gang stalking me, targeting me with LAPD, putting cameras in my apartment home, watching me in the nude, engaging in sex rituals with males and females, including my mother, and people that I know, fake friends of mine, while they are all infecting each other with STDs, and they're lying and defaming my character in court, while the demons of every city that I go to are keeping me under surveillance. This demon is engaging in what is gang stalking and further into committing murder, and this is an act of violence that this demon, a terrorist, a demon is engaging in what is targeting an American citizen, and doing so while you have this entire system of surveillance underway. You have the demon possessed that are capable of having any person that they want targeted pursuant to the system. So this is the entity that's sounding helicopter activity, and that's not a distraction. You already know that the Ontario Police are being disbanded, and they're gang stalking with the entity that is keeping me under surveillance on behalf of demons like Jason Isaac Fields, a serial killer. He's a hitman. He goes around killing people, and he also utilizes witchcraft in doing so. This is a demon that's engaging in this on behalf of his sex partner, Tracy Banks. They both together conspired in the midst of their sexual relationship with each other, sexually gratified by the thought of murdering me. These are psychopaths. These are serial killers, and they go go around killing other people. And they're gang stalking me, and their witchcraft doesn't work, but I want to make sure that I speak to it, and I'm also prosecuting the physical evidence of it. And it's also relevant because Jason Isaac Fields will never be in my presence. If federal law is going to serve to ban a domestic terrorist like this who doesn't have any evidence, this is nobody that is actually legitimately working with the federal government. The federal government is going to be subject to federal prosecution. I mean, the entity that is permitting a terrorist like Jason Isaac Fields to come into my presence as a part of any sort of investigation. Oh, Jason Isaac Fields is here because he has evidence that he needs to give to you about he has property that he needs to hold over. That has nothing to do with Jason Isaac Fields ever being in my presence. If this domestic terrorist is ever in my presence, he is going to federal prison, and the entity that permits it is going to federal prison. You are witnessing the ongoing criminal conduct underway. There is no investigation by the federal government. The federal government is caught red-handed. The federal government stole my property a long time ago. The federal government is gang stalking while the demons of the Ontario Police Department sound helicopter activity. Remember, that's audible activity while they're monitoring. They were monitoring the entire time while the fake son was present at 6:30. They were monitoring the whole time while the fake son was present at 2 in the afternoon and at 4 in the afternoon. Demons 9FJN820. It's a government system, and the Ontario Police are being disbanded for it. 8SOP500. The entity is sounding helicopter activity as a means of psychological torture and harassment, while I mentioned the puppet, Jason Isaac Fields, on whose behalf they're engaging in criminally monitoring me in furtherance of murder, for which no police department that engages in kidnapping and doing so is going to remain. The Ontario Police and their mental illness is exhibited. They're stalking in helicopters for years under a fake sun. They are engaging in what is utilizing and abusing witchcraft for purposes of murder, for purposes of sexual activity against the consent of a person that would otherwise not be sexually involved with them. This is the violence that Tracy Banks has engaged in as a pedophile. This is the violence that the demon-possessed, including those that are gang stalking of the Ontario Police Department. These are pedophiles. They traffic children. They have sex with children. They also utilize witchcraft in order to erase the memories of those children so that they don't remember being sexually violated, or so that they think that they enjoyed it. This is the purposes of witchcraft. This demon, this sex offender, this predator who was gang stalking me with the Ontario Police Department, literally in real time, utilizing psychological torture. And this is what this serial killer's method of trying to silence me from naming him in this documentation. In case you have not already paid attention, the entity that engages in threatening conduct, you get more and more documentation on you specifically with regard to every psychopathic tactic. This is somebody that is going to federal prison, and he is actually exhibiting and has exhibited through the criminal conduct of the entity. Remember, they share a mentally ill spirit. This is demonic. So the entity that's pacing over me in helicopter on August 22nd, 2025 for over 20 minutes, this is the mental illness that's shared by Jason Isaac Fields, who is exceedingly hostile while I document gang stalking by the Ontario Police Department. The police department that's gang stalking me for him. Okay, while this demon sought to steal my property, defame my character, and is very much fearful because this coward, who was already a homosexual, doesn't want to go to federal prison where he's going to be subject to imprisonment, and he needs to go to an asylum. This criminal activity, which he is sharing in real time, including while helicopter activity sounds, while a fake sun is over my head, nowhere near an Ovid Family Community Library, or his sex partner Tracy Banks' apartment, 51 at Woodside Senior Apartments, or Alvarado Gardens, where his co-defendant, the LAPD, is gang stalking me at my apartment, at my place of work. He is engaging in targeting while the entity, as I'm documenting him, the entity engages in that act of terrorism. That's going directly to the entity that's being documented. These gang stalking immigrants, the gang stalking population, Chick-fil-A, Sheraton, EVERHOME Suites, KFC, Denny's, In-N-Out, MOBIL, the 10 freeway, a population is keeping me under surveillance while a fake son is over me. An 8MGA096, a sex offender monitoring my vagina, knowing when I'm walking in and out of the hotel room, stalking in the path on the side of the road, doing so on behalf of this serial killer, this rapist, he is a pedophile, Jason Isaac Fields. Okay, the entity that is engaging in this is a method of violence against women. You don't get your way against a woman that you don't even have any chances whatsoever because you're a homosexual, because you engage in sex with my mother, because you're a serial killer, because you're a stalker and a psychopath and you serve Satan, so you're going to gang stalk me into tolerating you and stop documenting you. That's a serial killer that belongs in federal prison, and that's exactly where he's going. The Ontario Police Department are targeting me in furtherance of that psychopathic and pathetic purpose. They're being disbanded for kidnapping me. This is a demon. Understand, demons are, and Satan does not actually love you. This is a demon that on the one hand is utilizing witchcraft, engaging in psychological torture, targeting me, having a sexual relationship with my mom at the same time, is married. This is a demon.
This is absolutely Satan. Is married, is engaged in what is homosexuality, living a promiscuous lifestyle, is gang stalking me, which is committed in order to psychologically torture, harass me. In other words, drive someone to a point of breaking down in order that you can also take their life. This is somebody that's been the entire time defaming my character in a corrupt court that's trying to steal my property, an act of criminal conduct by a government that's using police departments like the Ontario Police to keep me under surveillance. And this demon is engaging in this because he wants a date that he is never going to get. He has a date with federal prison. That's where he's going. You need to understand this surveillance system that's underway and the ways in which a demon-possessed entity, they are engaging in what is targeting. You can be subject to targeting for any reason. But what you are understanding is that we are all under surveillance, and this is a demonic system of targeting. And amongst the surveillance system that is underway throughout the whole country, the entity is engaging what is targeting me with a demon, a pedophile like Tracy Banks. That's FedEx. You know they're gang stalkers. That's FedEx gang stalking, 79578R2. FedEx is a sex offender also monitoring my vagina. But you're understanding not only is surveillance underway, but the entity is engaged in gang stalking, and any demon that's engaging in the surveillance system can solicit to have any person targeted. So because you don't get a date, you're having sex with my mom for years, by the way, and you're helping her get away with stealing my property, and you are stealing my property as well. And while you're engaging in what is acting like you're married to me for years, I don't even talk to this predator, this pedophile, this psychopath. He's a rapist. He uses witchcraft to have sex with people that otherwise are not interested in him. And this demon is engaging in what is creating a fraudulent marriage to me on paper, acting like he's a parental figure to me because he's married secretly to my mother, having sex with her for years, is a closeted homosexual. I know nothing about this, and this person is gang stalking me, trying to coerce me into any situation with him. That's not going to work. It's evidence of what is criminal monitoring. He's going to federal prison, and his mental illness is put at the forefront of his prosecution. And the federal government, I want to be clear, the federal government that permits a predator, like a serial killer like Jason Isaac Fields, while these demons are pacing in this parking lot, I'm going to document. Remember, Ontario Police is gang stalking. I'm about to document all these people. License 7VVF991. The Ontario Police is gang stalking through all the people of the state, and they're doing so. This is criminal conduct solicited by predators. Tracy Banks is interested in stealing my property. She's been sexually involved with Jason Isaac Fields for years. License 7XVW727. The federal RICO case against KFC at 1851 East G Street. They're monitoring. These demons are behind in the drive-thru while the Ontario Police are gang stalking by helicopter activity. As their co-defendant, Jason Isaac Fields is being identified by name. Okay, and that's the entity that, this is a sex offender. This is somebody that would claim, oh, I love you, and I want, after he's been engaged in years of anal, vaginal, oral sex, group sex with my mother, conspiring my death, stealing my property, keeping a fraudulent marriage to me on paper so that he can act like he's some sort of person of interest with regard to money and property that belongs to me. And when that is failing, when it's shown that he's been lying for years, having no relationship with me, never having any shared residence with me, I don't even know that he's created a whole fake concocted marriage on paper to me. I've been documenting the pattern of conduct that I'm subject to, which he is a part of. He's been planning my murder while stealing my property and having sex with my mother behind my back, and using gang stalking currently as though I'm going to be deceived into thinking that some gang stalker that's trying to murder me is in love with me while he's using witchcraft. Okay? This is the P.O.C. So I want to make sure that you're understanding the intricacy of that.
How you doing, ma'am? I am so sorry to interrupt your phone conversation. I just saw you about to walk down here.
No, I'm standing here. Is that okay?
Yeah, definitely.
Is there anything else you need then?
No, ma'am. I'm so sorry.
Thank you. So this is that's monitoring. So the entity is engaging in this pattern of conduct, and they're doing so with regard to, you need to understand the threat of this surveillance system. And this is what is putting the entity. Jason Isaac Fields has been defaming my character for years. He's still engaging in what is witchcraft. So this is no longer just that's not a Salem witch hunt. For you to prove gang stalking, which I've already shown, it's satanic, it's relevant to public corruption. The entity is engaging in what is targeting people in ways that are malicious, meaning relying on illusions. Psychological torture is relevant to magic, dark magic, witchcraft, which this demon is using, and the government uses it as well. This is what's coexisting with what a demon, like a psychopath like Jason, claiming that he's been investigating, claiming that he has evidence that he's going to give to me. No, he's not. No, he's not. He never will. He will never come into my presence, and it needs to be public information. This is not only a flaming homosexual. This is a demon out of the pit of hell who is still relying on voodoo and witchcraft, who is out of his right mind, gang stalking with the police department, which is threatening the life of a woman, violence against women, and then he's engaging in what is at the same time, while he is insane with the witchcraft, the illusions that he's been relying on for years, he is at the same time spiritually attacking. It's psychological torture to claim, oh, I love you while I'm gang stalking you, and I'm going to threaten you by the police if you document me. This is literally what this demon is engaged in. That's what you witness as I refer to this demon by name, the Ontario Police gang stalking. And this is the pattern of conduct that I've been documenting. Remember, the system of monitoring is very personal. So it's based on not only me, everything that I'm doing, the demons are obsessed with me, sexually obsessed with me. What it is that I'm documenting is relevant to what the entity does and how it does it. You want to gang stalk with the police while I'm speaking of a particular defendant? That's relevant to the prosecution of that defendant, the threat that that defendant poses to you. And that's the federal government, by the way, who hired this flaming homosexual, who doesn't even like women. Okay, he's engaged in the practice of witchcraft. He's a sodomite. He's a thief, and he's a co-conspirator to my murder. And he's gang stalking me with the Ontario Police Department and these gang stalking immigrants at RAMADA by WYNDHAM, a bunch of sex offenders that are monitoring together. Okay, a population keeping my vagina under surveillance. That has nothing to do with love. This is violence committed against a woman by a government, and that's the unprecedented prosecution of terrorists. And Jason Eisenfield and his sex partner Tracy Banks together, interested in stealing my property, and now he's going from having sex with, only in his mind, because he's not going to me under any circumstances, but this demon is engaged in what is years of sexual relationship with somebody as old as his mother, my mom, behind my back, conspiring my murder, defaming me, stealing from me, keeping a fraudulent marriage and a secret conservatorship with her, and abusing his government position in doing so, while I've been being gang stalked the whole time as a matter of documentation since 2018. This is a sex offender, and he is not engaged in an investigation. And whatever sexual violence the government permitted this demon to be to continuously engage in, I want to be clear. Any part of so-called investigation that you're claiming you're having, this demon is a sex offender who is monitoring, and is his sexual deviancy, his predatorial nature. Predatory nature is being satiated by gang stalking, not investigating. And the federal government that permitted this is the federal government that I'm going to prosecute. Okay, by name, by position, whoever's permitting it, and Jason Eisenfield is going to prison. Okay, this sex offender's license plate 9PAB261, prolonged surveillance using a communication device, stalking in the path under the fake sun that's on the opposite side of the street than where my hotel room is, where that fake sun remained over my head at my hotel room door from the beginning until the end of the day. 10 a.m. until after 6 p.m. is in beginning to the end of the day documentation, and it is impossible speaking to who everybody is stalking, and that includes the demons of the Ontario Police, who's on helicopter, which is monitoring. That's an unlawful threat committed in furtherance of murder, pursuant to surveillance of evidence, while I refer to the demon, the psychopath, the serial killer, the rapist, and that pedophile, this maniacal psychopath, Jason Isaac Fields, who will never, ever be in my presence. And federal law is going to protect the right of any American citizen that's being gang stalked. While you are no longer ignorant about criminal surveillance in this country and the ways in which people are executed, they are conspired against, and they are targeted in this country, and they're not strangers. And they do so through corrupt police departments, through corrupt federal government agencies. And that's what is being exposed here. And this demon is engaging in this conduct, and this is delusional behavior. And he is, again, a threat to the public. He's a threat to women, men. He is a threat to himself. This is a demon who is engaging what is soliciting this sort of conduct with regard to a woman that he both has pure hatred for. This is a mental illness, and he's also sexually addicted to. And he has no basis to that. It's because of his voyeurism. It's because of his stalking. It's because his knowledge of my vagina is because he's a sex offender. And he's engaging what is gang stalking me and doing so in furtherance of murder, and has been doing so under no circumstances regarding any sort of well-being on my own. This is somebody that has a fake marriage to me. This is somebody that is stalking. This is somebody that is threatening my life and safety on a moment-by-moment basis, including when I document him. Okay? And as I document him, understand that this is the government. The government's the one that's going to pay the penalty. Jason Isaac Fields will never actually be in my presence. This is a demon, however, I want to be clear because it's relevant to his diagnosis. He belongs in an asylum like his sex partner, Tracy Banks. You've witnessed her mental illness. This demon would like to focus on her and call her crazy and call her a psychopath and call her a pedophile and blame her for everything that he did. But he is a psychopath, and he was sexually connected to her. He was involved in a prolonged relationship with her. He was conspiring with her. He was targeting other people with her. He was step in step with her. He's targeting me with the Ontario Police in the city of Ontario with her, with the state of California with her, maintaining a fraudulent marriage and a fraudulent secret conservatorship over me, trying to steal my property with her. He is mentally ill and psychopathic right along with her. They're both subject to what is a mental asylum. And this is the reality, and this is the danger of demons. Demons that are stalking, inexplicably, license BYB205A. That looks like a Baja license plate. This is what is relevant to that surveillance system. And the demons who are so psychopathic, you have what is, again, being exposed as a whole police department. The mentally ill, Mike LORENZ, you're looking at them, you're talking about federal prison. They take it as a joke. Jason Isaac Fields is actually going to federal prison. Tracy Banks is actually going to federal prison. Their mental illness is exhibited through their ongoing delusional behavior. They are going to be subject to a prosecution for terrorism in the United States, which is no small thing. The entities engage in conduct as though it's a slap on the wrist, while the police department is something that no government ever wants to be even a part of. Okay, not only are they proven, they are engaging in gang stalking where under any circumstances, if you were sane, you would remove yourself far from that. That's if you were sane. Okay, but if you were sane, you would never be caught as a whole department stalking a woman and monitoring her vagina, being obsessed with her, using witchcraft as you obsess over her, and having sex with children as you obsess over her genitalia while you're stalking and monitoring her in her sleep, monitoring her thoughts, monitoring what it is that she does, everything that you're consumed with, and that's because they are demons. This is spiritual. And those demons are a part of the Ontario police that are aiding serial killers like Jason Isaac Fields. And when I'm using these terms, I am not being hyperbolic. People are 6 feet under based on the criminal conduct, the satanic conduct of Jason Isaac Fields and Tracy Banks. They're already dead. They are dead. They are murderers. They're pedophiles. And they gang stalk me, and their witchcraft doesn't work against me, and I'm blowing the whistle, and I'm also letting you know what is all of their secrets. And they have a whole police department in their pocket. These demons that are being disbanded, being paid money to target me, and these clowns engage in monitoring while I'm here where the fake sun is. The gang stalking immigrants at RAMADA by WYNDHAM are subject to deportation. Okay, and they've been gang stalking for years. They were targeting me in 2020. All right, this is P.O.C. The entities engage in this conduct and doing so with regard to knowledge of who you are. There is no anonymity. There's no strangers. And this is the conduct that they're engaged in. Remember, while they are removing the ability to access the Wi-Fi, they're doing that with the intent to obstruct justice. All right, that's not a failure. That's the entity that wants to gang stalk you and then wants to block your ability to upload. They're serving the purposes of a serial killer. All right, the government that provides keys, these gang stalking immigrants, granting access to any random serial killer rapist, some psychopath that's high on some sort of dark black magic or something, and coming in and engaging in what is taking my life and then making up a whole narrative. This is how gang stalking operates, and you know nothing about that system. You know nothing about it. All right, the entity that's blocking access to internet is the entity that's engaging in what is an unlawful threat to your life. The evidence of gang stalking by the Ontario Police, the evidence of gang stalking by population, the evidence of gang stalking under the fake sun and amongst impossible light activity is relevant to what is not a malfunction of the Wi-Fi, like I stated. It is criminal monitoring under Title 18. License 83749B3, 4RZM 967, 8YUJ375, 9CYZ669, 8EEZ 898. They're all sex offender monitoring my vagina while I took a shower today. They were all intimately acquainted with every body part that I washed, how thoroughly I washed it, how long I stood under the water. They're all intimately acquainted with how long it took for me to dry off and every part of my body that I put lotion on. These are all sex offenders. You need to understand that the gang stalking entity of demons, they're all predators. Contrary to the illusion regarding the environment that we're in, regarding the existence of a criminal justice system, where because there are laws in the books about sexual violence, and if you don't have a criminal record, then you're not a sex offender. That's the entity that's gang stalking. Those are psychopaths. They're all sex offenders. License 09565K3. And that's why you have the Ontario Police, by the way, sounding helicopter activity, because they're all together monitoring my vagina in the shower today. 7TUX782 included. License plate 8JRM828. And this is sexual violence that a gang stalking mother, Tracy Banks, solicited against her own daughter, who she wants to be. She wants to be me. She wishes she could exchange vaginas because she's had one too many freeway entrances I'll just say access to hers, okay? The entities engaging in this pattern of conduct while engaging in soliciting by Jason Isaac Fields, who's conspiring my death, and also at the same time is sexually obsessed with me. That is nobody that is in love with you. And this is a demon that's utilizing witchcraft and then at the same time trying to convey the idea that that's not love, that's Satan, okay? And it's entirely demonic and psychopathic. 7AVJ220, sex offender, license 8LYU537. Okay, so that male that you heard in the background telling me, oh, you look like, he came before I didn't even make a move. I'm standing on the side. Because the entity is monitoring. So he comes, listen to what he said, roll the tape back. You look like you're about to. I didn't do anything. I'm standing on the sidewalk. First of all, he's monitoring. Second of all, this is an entity that just doesn't want me to walk on the property. I don't need to. I just got all their license plates. They're gang stalking at EVERHOME Suites. They're doing so pursuant to what is the fake sun over my head, and I'll show you that as well. The fake sun is on the opposite side of the street, where the entity is engaged in that P.O.C. and is doing so where you're looking at the Ontario International Airport, gang stalking in the sky space, flying over my head where the fake sun is at. That's where you're identifying stalking by the government. The demons are doing so while the demons engaging in what is gang stalking at the hotel. The fake sun's no longer over my hotel room. You'll see the absence of that. That would never be the sun in the first place. On August 22nd, 2025, the fake sun over the Ovid Family Community Library, where a bunch of sex offenders obsessed with my vagina, obsessed with everything that I say and do, every move that I make, because they're demons engaging in a satanic surveillance system, which you need to be aware is underway. And any demon that's a part of the surveillance system is able to solicit for your death like Tracy Banks and Jason Isaac Fields did. They're both going to prison, and they belong in mental asylums with regard to the level of evidence that I have gathered showing you not only targeting and furtherance of murder, but they're absolutely rageful, maniacal, unhinged psychopaths. Okay? Claiming, oh, I love you and I also hate you. I want to kill you, but I want to steal from you as well. I want to take away your right to consent by using witchcraft. This is the entity that's gang stalking on behalf of this predator, Jason Isaac Fields, stalking me with the police department because you're monitoring me, and the entity sounds helicopter activity. Those are the demons that are engaging in that P.O.C. together, and they share in that mental illness. You're going to attach that conduct to the face of Tracy Banks, to the face of Jason Isaac Fields, because they're getting locked up for it. The Ontario Police Department that engages in what is gang stalking, this is a corrupt terrorist organization. These are sex offenders. These are stalkers, not police officers. All right, and they're engaging what is the provision of evidence to that. They didn't even and take the opportunity to disprove that. They literally engaged in establishing everything that I stated and more, okay? And all I do is analyze it, let you know what it is. It's not more, it's within what I've already documented, but they go far beyond, be providing a whole wealth of surplusage, if you will, of evidence against the state of California, as you're understanding, gang stalking by a corrupt terrorist organization that's masquerading as a police department, and where you have the entity that's engaging in surveillance and that can be paid off to conspire the murder of an American citizen is engaging in what is, this is what the Ontario Police has been engaged in. They've been paid off to keep me under surveillance, to criminally defame my character, while the demons are acting in furtherance of trying to commit murder and get away with it. You're going to be disbanded for that. And this is what the entity is engaging in. So you're witnessing psychopaths who are also inept, incompetent. It's not like they're at the top of the law enforcement game, knowing how to spell Constitution, knowing what it is that the penal code authorizes them to do and not to do, while they refer to, absolute ignoramuses who are absolutely corrupt as well. But that's showing you it has nothing to do with being law-abiding citizens. It has nothing to do with constitutional authority. It's a system of surveillance, and the entity is engaging in what is bullying people who don't know their rights, bullying people who are intimidated to even ask a common sense question, which you have a right under the Constitution to do, and the entity is engaging in what is absolute brute sort of conduct that has no actual brain activity behind it. These are ignorant demons. In other words, there is no actual logic behind what they're doing, and it's also, as you're witnessing that, as they're being documented and prosecuted and exposed as demons, you're looking at them go haywire. That's how I have 20 minutes of stalking me in a helicopter at one venue, and then I'm going to remind you about what's happening at that address. So what is over the roof of the Economy Inn at the same time? What's over the roof of Tracy Banks' apartment over my head at the same time? What is the Ontario Police Department doing at that other venue at the same time while that fake sun in an impossible manner? They're doing the same thing. They're stalking. Again, very much lacking in any intelligence. These are the demons that engage in nothing other than brute strength. They murder people. They kidnap and intimidate people. They ruin people's lives. They scare people. No demon in hell is going to stop me. And all these demons of the Ontario Police are being disbanded. And these two particular demons, Tracy Banks and Jason Isaac Fields, they're going to prison. They belong in mental asylums specifically. And the federal government that has permitted theft of my property while I'm a transient, proving years ago that there was never any legitimate investigation. The reason why you're investigating is because you're gang stalking. You're gang stalking me. It's not an investigation. This is surveillance. The entity is doing so with demons that provide evidence against you. You're listening to me expose you. You're going to federal prison. As I identify you by name, this is somebody that needs a battery of tests and needs routine mental examinations. Jason Isaac Fields is a threat to minor children, and he is a threat to other people, including himself. And there is no actual investigation that this psychopath, I said it before, and I'm going to say it again. Any federal government that permits this serial killer to be in my presence, having access to any of my property after he has already stolen it, after you are on notice by this documentation here, you are not reasonably disregarding anything that I've exposed, nor under any circumstances where you're looking at this pattern of conduct. You are going to federal prison, including him. It is currently, by the way, August 25th, it's 11:57 p.m. Ontario Police gang stalking with the Sheraton. They're stalking in that parking lot. As I'm referring to, it was about 5 minutes ago, and I'm referring to the Ontario Police stalking, providing all those examples, giving me a surplusage. The Ontario Police are stalking in that parking lot. They're all monitoring me, and you know that because the fake sun's not over the Ovitt Family Community Library like it was on August 22nd, 2025, where they're using on video all over X and all over YouTube helicopter activity to engage in domestic terrorism in the United States, which is going to be evidence to prosecute domestic terrorists in this country that are of the civilian population, and it includes corrupt government actors like Tracy Banks and Jason Isaac Fields. These demons that solicited my death via gang stalking, public corruption that's underway in California and throughout the United States. License 9RJX17283993W2. License plate. So I want to be clear, 1851 East G Street. That's KFC. The colonel, he's gang stalking. He's monitoring American citizens and doing so with sex offenders that are monitoring my vagina with a Tennessee plate, calls himself a dad. This is a sex offender, and he's obsessed with a black woman's vagina as well. If he happens to be a racist or anything like that, you need to know that he's obsessively stalking another woman while would be living his life on the surface as though they're married, in love with someone else, has a whole family. He's stalking a woman whom he's conspiring to murder with a corrupt police department. License 9AWM500 is sharing in that conspiracy, and this is getting through the surface level assessment of demons that are engaging in gang stalking. This is a Tennessee plate, license 325BDST. This is a Silverado stalking in the path with the light. The brake light's on, stalking in the path in the parking lot, which is what Chick-fil-A is doing. Chick-fil-A is gang stalking while the people of the state are on the property, engaging in what is pacing while they're in the drive-thru, pacing while they're in the restaurant, a presence by the establishment while the fake sun's over me and it's in relevant position. This is prosecuting that federal RICO case against the people of the state who are maintaining businesses that are engaged in surveillance, helping the terrorist organizations that like to masquerade as law enforcement agencies, and they're not. And this is what is putting Jason Isaac Fields and Tracy Banks in federal prison. And the government is engaged in what is violence against women. The government in concert with women who are homosexuals, engage in homosexual conduct while living their lives as though they're heterosexual women, normal, everyday citizens, and they're obsessed with, understand this is demonic. These women are equally obsessed as in the same way that the males are, because demons don't have gender. Demons don't have races, and these demons are being used by women equally. Women are keeping me under surveillance. Women are monitoring my vagina in the bathroom. Women are stalking me in the dark. Women are molesting me with impossible light activity. These are homosexual acts. These are acts of obsession, and then these women are also acting like they have boyfriends and husbands or other families, they have kids, and they're whole sex offenders monitoring and obsessed with me. That's what you need to know about the illusion, where this satanic system of surveillance is underway, and they're doing so on behalf of, again, maniacal, sexually perverted psychopaths like Jason Isaac Fields. That's the same spirit operating in women of a homosexual nature, gang stalking. Okay, license again 325BDST. This demon is monitoring with these demons inside of the parking lot. That audible activity, crossing path, keeping his head the opposite direction while he's stalking in the parking lot. You'll see this demon wearing a hard hat. That's Title 18 federal stalking. License 9RJX172 is monitoring. This is ongoing conduct at the EVERHOME Suites, the construction at 1820 East G Street. They're monitoring. That's monitoring. It's criminal monitoring conduct. And they're monitoring together. This is where the entity just sounded helicopter activity. This is where the fake sun is still present after 6 p.m. and demons are sitting around stalking, obviously engaging in what is a fully exposed system. This is when you're witnessing mental illness, delusional conduct. Oh, nobody knows what I'm doing, and I don't even care if they do because I'm going to keep on monitoring. These are demons who are obsessed. Males and females together, homosexuals engaging in stalking and monitoring my vagina. It's what you need to know about the women in California. 5PDL218. License CZJY62. That is a Colorado plate. License 8MYM916. This is P.O.C. Already captured the fake sun. You saw the fake sun over the top of my head at 10:13 a.m. And it is under no circumstances anywhere at the Ovitt Family Community Library. Okay, this is the pattern of conduct. This demon is maintaining presence on behalf of the government, driving off. That's a white male wearing a pink shirt with that blue and white license plate. The government flying over by helicopter and plane, stalking in the parking lot, monitoring with predators like that. Maintaining likely a family at home, monitoring and obsessed with my vagina. That's the illusion that the demon-possessed present when they're engaging in this surveillance system, which you're supposed to be ignorant about. And you're also supposed to be ignorant about their mental illness. Their mental illness, which is actual mental illness, not the mental illness that you have been conditioned to think exists and manifests in certain ways, and this is how it's going to present. These demons have a whole population of them. And it's a direct contradiction to what actual mental illness looks like, behaves like, presents as. All right, license 9FDY663 and 3XCY161. Excuse me, 9CXJ761. All right, it is currently, again, where the entity's gang stalking, as I'm capturing, EVERHOME Suites, CHIC-FIL, the Sheraton, MOBIL, in and out, the 10 freeway, that's a means of surveillance, the WENDY'S freeway, and the entity that is gang stalking with the Ontario Police. All right, this is P.O.C. This is where the entity is maintaining the fake sun. The entity is keeping a fake sun over me. You see that address, 1851 KFC, is going to be prosecuted, the federal RICO case against the entity, crossing path 7LCG280. And this is where the entity is moving abruptly that fake sun that is remaining directly over my head, covering that with the clouds in the sky. All right, you're going to recall the evidence. The fake sun is over me at that hotel on the 3rd floor where that demon is gang stalking up there. That's where the entity has a fake sun over me, which I capture as a matter of images. There's no sun that's going to be over Economy in the 60 freeway. This is the 10 freeway. The demon possessed engaging in what is delusion. You've already seen the evidence of the entity stalking under a fake sun. You saw the evidence of the fake sun today already over that side of the street, over my head at that venue where they're stalking in engineer light, driving under it, and engineer light appears beside the vehicles. You've seen all of that. You saw it during the 2 p.m., you saw it during the 4 p.m., and you saw it during the 6 p.m. hour. It's right here over my head in conformity to the pattern of conduct where the demons are stalking in helicopters. That's the demon-possessed agency, the Ontario Police, that's being disbanded. And there is no act of covering up the fake sun that's going to change that. This is the P.O.C. This is speaking to mental illness, though, and the delusional conduct of all the demons. I documented their license plate. These demons in hard hats are pacing under the fake sun, monitoring with the police department, sex offenders monitoring the vagina of a woman who does not consent to it, and they're delusional with regard to criminal conduct while they keep their back to you as though they're focused on something else. Their focal point under the fake sun and amongst the gang stalking entity is surveillance. All right, and everything inside of that hotel room is public information. 5TKS426, 9RSW460. There's the fake sun right over me, where the demons of the Ontario Police are gang stalking, and it's solicited conduct by Tracy Banks and Jason Isaac Fields and for conspiring your murder. And that's exactly what is underway when a population is gang stalking. These are demons. This is P.O.C. This is no sun that's over the Ober Family Community Library, 215 East C Street, nor would the sun be, as you can clearly see it, not there, and it's over the top of my head, and the entity is engaging in what is maintaining a specific environment where surveillance is underway. RAMADA by WYNDHAM. Gang stalking immigrants get deported from this country. Gang stalking immigrants are acting with impunity that the Ontario Police Department exhibit together. This is P.O.C. Coming as close as they can to engage in that P.O.C. Because that's all this is. P.O.C. It is currently, by the way, 12:05 p.m. All right, the entity I'm capturing on video, the entity stalking with the Ontario Police, that's speaking to the demons that are hostile while I document them. This is, again, I want to be clear, the entity is engaging in this. The Ontario Police is not going to remain, and the demons of Jason Isaac Fields, he already knows that he's going to federal prison, and this is somebody that is engaging in criminal conduct. There's no legitimate investigation, and there is no investigation that you could ever engage in, participate in, help, or whatever you call yourself engaging in, that's going to alleviate what is the mandated penalty of federal prison when you're targeting with the government, conspiring murder. Okay, because that's exactly what Jason Isaac Fields committed, and he is still engaging in that and threatening my life and safety on an ongoing basis, and a bunch of psychopaths stalking with the Ontario Police because I'm documenting them. He's going to federal prison, and so are the people of the state. Remember, the entity's keeping the fake sun over Starbucks. There's a body of evidence. What is sitting over Starbucks right now at the same time? This demon that wants to focus on a hose, that's the mental illness. The delusional psychopath, all the evidence sitting around them, and you're supposed to be deceived. Oh, the focus is not that person. I don't know you. I don't know anything about you. They don't have to say anything to you. You're looking at the delusion through their behavior. When a sane person would not be caught on camera, a sane person that understands that nobody is stupid and nobody is deceived anymore by these illusions, which are only committed by psychopaths. Only relied on by psychopaths. Nobody is ignorant, and the entity is going to be prosecuted for this. That's relevant to psychological torture and relevant to malice. It's relevant to public corruption. And this is also why the Ontario Police is being disbanded, because they're engaged in criminal conduct and they incentivize and encourage and promote criminal conduct. That's P.O.C. It is currently 12:06 p.m., 9CPM730, 9HAA367, a population of sex offenders engaging in sexual violence as a way of society, and now no actual privacy. Contrary to what the United States government wants to promote with regard to the Constitution, that's not the reality. And California is showing that. California is also going to be the template for the prosecution of this system, which is committed in furtherance of murder. And that's why the two that solicited this, Jason Isaac Fields is going straight to federal prison. He's not passing go or collecting $200. He's never coming into my presence. And this is not a threat. This is what the law is going to mandate. Any federal government permitting it, you will be subject to what is a federal cell. That's just the reality. Jason Isaac Fields is going to federal prison. And so is his sex partner, Tracy Banks, which he's been engaged in targeting me in order to accomplish murder and stealing what belongs to me. For years, he's going to prison for it. And everyone else needs to know, the public needs to know, that this is a homosexual who doesn't even like women, and he is still relying on witchcraft while he is targeting me, which the Ontario police share in. And so do these demons, these cockroaches pacing all around in engineer light, monitoring me as obsessed as he is. This is a delusional psychopath. Okay, he doesn't like himself, and he's upset, and he is psychopathic with regard to his being upset that a sane woman that knows what he's engaged in would never have anything to do with him. And the federal law is going to enforce my rights to not be tracked down and stalked by a pedophile like him. Okay, this is the entity that's engaged in that, and it is outrageous. That's why you hear that passion. It is outrageous what the government has been engaging in, and there are people that are already dead at the hands of Tracy Banks and Jason Isaac Fields, by the way, at the hands of the people of the state of California. At the hands of the government, the gang stalkers of the Ontario police, they are murderers. And they're gang stalking. You saw that gang stalking immigrant monitoring me by pushing that cart outside of the room on video this morning? That is no small thing. That's monitoring. That's what they're doing when I'm inside of my room, and the moment that I have a random thought, all of a sudden an earthquake happening under my feet. You saw that demon. You saw the face and the demon engaging that conduct in plain view. This is what they're doing with knowledge of everything pertaining to my vagina. So you saw the sex offender's face. You saw the demon's conduct. You saw their impunity while they're monitoring in plain view. This is what they're doing on a ceaseless basis as a population of them. It's worse than a cockroach infestation. And they're doing so with regard to obsessively stalking one person until they murder that person. And it's an act committed by an entity. It's reported on the news by a crime that's to be investigated by some person who's to be pinned for it. These are demons that are targeting people, very specific. Okay? And it's a group act. And the entity is going to be, while it is a group act, you're going to prosecute the government for it. But I'm going to be clear. I'm going to enforce my right to get the government that wants to continuously be derelict and facilitate terrorism by psychopaths who he should already be in a cell. Okay, with regard to what he's already committed, with regard to what the threat that he poses, as I remain subject to it, he should already be in a point to where he is restrained and not able to further commit it or facilitate it, when you're understanding the nature of this crime. But I want to be clear, in the ways in which that this is being enabled and facilitated by the federal government, I will be enforcing my rights, and that's going to be the law with regard to the prosecution that any American citizen has a right to enforce, is entitled to, when you are no longer ignorant about surveillance, all right? And by the way, the surveillance system is not even intelligent. There are a bunch of demons, and when they're clearly outsmarted by their lack of intelligence or lack of cunning, then they engage in just stalking in an obvious manner by the police. That police department is being disbanded, and that is no shrewd response. That is, okay, if you were looking for evidence that they're stalking you, there it is. This is what the demons do over and over and over again. And then they keep their back to you like they're focused on a hose while they're getting water. They're stalking. That's what demons are doing. So I just want to be clear. This is the system of monitoring, and it's relevant to, remember, demons don't have races. Demons don't have genders. But the people of the state who are demon-possessed, they are defendants. They have races. They have, which is relevant to citizenship status in the United States, which is relevant to the age group, which is also relevant to the ways in which you're going to prosecute. The entity itself that is demon-possessed is able to be prosecuted and categorized with regard to how you will execute justice, okay? But you need to understand that this homosexual spirit, this psychopathic spirit, this obsessive and addictive spirit, this is shared by a population. And so this is contrary to what the demon-possessed want you to think based on what it is that they expose to you. Homosexuality is not limited to those that are dressing up like Butch, and those are the ones that like women, those ones that are coming out of the closet, and even the ones that are homosexual and haven't come out. No, it's not. Women that live their life as heterosexual women every day are engaged in homosexual behavior, homosexual like violence, monitoring the vagina of another woman, obsessed with the vagina of another woman, stalking a woman in the middle of the night, homosexual conduct. Of a violent nature, of course. But I'm getting to the fact that this is same gender conduct. Why is a woman obsessed with my vagina? That's gay. That's gay. And that's what these demons are doing. Not only that, it's criminal. But I just want to make sure that you understand every layer of what is demented about the demon-possessed. They don't want you to know that they're gay. They don't want you to know that they're obsessed, that they're stalking. They don't want you to know that they're perverted, that they're pedophiles. They have sex with children. They have all manner of mental illness. And this is something that, again, is not being diagnosed and it's not being discussed. While they're all stalking amongst what is that body of evidence that's already proven what all of them are doing and how they are all doing it. That's what engaged in stalking in helicopter under a fake sun that is covered up over the top of my head, which you already know. Everybody that is watching already knows. There is no sun that's ever in Florida while in a natural environment while it's remaining over the same street. And you will never erase what I just documented yesterday. So what it is that I'm capturing while the entity covers up a fake sun and crosses paths with the demons of the Ontario Police Department and a bunch of cockroaches on the roads, in the highways, in these businesses, in this parking lot, are a bunch of demons who are delusional. This is mental illness. Nobody is tricked. Nobody is deceived. Nobody is deceived. Well, maybe it's not. No, everyone sees Satan for what he is. And Satan is using every single last one of these vessels. They engage in murdering people as an entity. They engage in sexually violating people as an entity. And they are covert homosexuals and rapists, relying on witchcraft and magic to take away the consent that people have to not engage in conduct or relationship or sexual activity with them. This is what Tracy Banks and Jason Isaac Phillips rely on, by the way. Using witchcraft against children. So you can have sex with them, sexually violate them, and they can't remember it. All right? They can combine that with drugs and alcohol. They do the same thing with men or women that they want to have a sexual relationship with, somebody that is completely out of their league, but they throw a little black magic in there. They throw also drugs and alcohol, and you will not remember it. Or you'll be in a relationship with them, and you, in your right mind, absent witchcraft, you would never be with them, ever. You would never have anything to do with them. They make your skin crawl. The entity is engaging in this conduct, and it is a violation. This is, again, not legislated because witchcraft is not a part of enforcing your rights. And to a degree, that is lawful because you don't want a witch hunt. But this is not a witch hunt. This is evidence speaking to gang stalking, proven. The practice of witchcraft is proven through gang stalking. This is becoming relevant with regard to prosecuting all the malicious sex acts, all right, all the malicious criminal conduct committed by that entity that is targeting. Okay, so when you are proven in the physical what the entity is doing, which is criminal, and it's state action, it is relevant to what the entity, to everything else that the entity is also engaging in. And so this is not a witch hunt whatsoever. And the entity is speaking to what is mental illness, malice, and you're going to prosecute Chick-fil-A, Sheraton, KFC, MOBIL, In-N-Out, Denny's, the population, the gang stalkers throughout the city of Ontario, the Ontario Airport Inn, the entity that's gang stalking this construction company. There are a bunch of demons that are monitoring. They're not engaging in construction. The specific environment and the gang stalking by the city of Ontario, which they are a part of, is superseding what is an admission to criminal monitoring by your contract, by your business agreement to be here, because it's a violation of federal law. It's domestic terrorism, it's public corruption. And the superseding facts regarding that, meaning your evidence of, oh no, we weren't, see, this is the contract we have. We have a contract to build this structure here. It's evidence that I'm going to use it to prosecute you, because that's why the specific environment followed me to where you are at. As a bunch of sleepers ready to engage in surveillance and monitoring a woman's vagina at any moment while wearing hard hats. That's the public corruption, the sex offenders that are engaging in businesses in California. All right, you're going to civilly and criminally prosecute for that. Businesses are sex offenders. Businesses are domestic terrorists. Businesses are engaged in stalking, monitoring, the satanic system of monitoring. That's how I have, by the way, a FedEx employee molesting me with impossible light activity while they drive by. You're going to associate that act of terrorism with that logo, and you're going to prosecute for that. Okay? That logo is also monitoring my vagina while they're making a delivery in the specific environment. Look at the body of evidence at Alvarado Gardens where Amazon Prime is having a good time. All right? Psychopaths that are, again, not understanding the big picture, and that's, again, they are the spiritually inferior. They are to be exposed. They're not to be reasoned with. They don't reason. All they do is pace around under the fake sun. These demons are providing a template for understanding public corruption, monitoring the sex offense of gang stalking an American citizen, and combining that with what is the malicious use of a business in doing so. All right? That's what Amazon Prime is doing as a body of evidence at Alvarado Gardens, where the sun would never be over me while a bunch of these demons in the parking lot at EVERHOME Suites is gang stalking with the city of Ontario. This is P.O.C. And remember, this is all starting based on the criminal conduct that Jason Isaac Phillips is engaging in. This is a rapist. This is a psychopath who was never going to be in my presence, but I want to make sure that it's clear. The system of gang stalking is exposed. What is relevant is that the entity is engaging in what is relying upon witchcraft. This is conduct which is a violation. It's psychological torture. It's relevant to also the ways in which the entity, people that rely on this type of satanic behavior and conduct violate the rights of another citizen, of another person, because when I use those terms, it's for purposes of a prosecution for the legal status. People rely on witchcraft in order to exert some sort of control over another person. That's a violation of your right. If you don't want to have sex with someone, if you don't want to be involved with someone, for someone to use witchcraft over you and essentially control your feelings, this is real. This is actually what happens to people. Unbeknownst to them, you find yourself in marriages with people, and then you are looking at TV shows, for example. I've seen it and it's fascinating. And on the one hand, I never understood, well, how do you just quote unquote fall out of love after 20 years? Because a lot of times they were never in love in the first place, and that's how that happens. By the way, it was Satan at the outset. So these are problems that the wicked have created on their own. This is the entity that's engaging in the practice of witchcraft, and it is a violation of your rights as a person to choose who you want to be involved with at any level. This is something that this is a rapist and a murderer, Jason Isaac Fields, whatever incompetent person put him in a position with the federal government, they need to be removed. And if that person is permitting, whoever you are, you're going to federal prison. I just need to make sure that that's abundantly clear. If Jason Isaac Fields has any access to property that belongs to me, requiring or permitting this terrorist a threat to my life and safety, the gang stalking, corrupt police, these demons that want to be mistaken for police, they're not, and they're being removed, that are targeting me today on behalf of this demon who is using witchcraft, as I'm blowing the whistle about that, and this demon is having access to anything that belongs to me. Some sort of messenger about any sort of evidence. No, he is not. And you are being forced to do your job, and part of your job includes what is neutralizing the threat. He is never permitted in my presence. He is never to have any exercise of authority over any property that belongs to me. And that should not be the case while you are engaged in a so-called investigation, when it is in controversy, including through a so-called investigation, where I'm still going to be prosecuting because I'm documenting ongoing violence that I had a right to not be subject to ever in the first place because of the incompetence of hiring a threat like Jason Isaac Fields. It is currently 12:19 p.m. where a bunch of demons wearing hard hats are gang stalking. This is stalking in the path at what is EVERHOME Suites, 1820 East G Street. And they're doing so on behalf of the state. All right. Everything that's happening at CHIC-FIL, everything that's happening this is G Street. The entity's doing so while the fake sun is over the top of my head. And you'll see that. I'll go ahead and zoom in on it. I'm taking a picture of it right now. That's the fake sun that's over my head. And that's, again, while I'm capturing the fake sun as I walked out of the hotel room, and the Tesla is stopping in the middle of the road. And then Ontario merchants is stopping, turning their hazard lights on while the entity is keeping the fake sun. That fake sun is still here. You already know that. These are psychopaths who are monitoring evidence that is inevitable, unavoidable, insurmountable, 09565K3, insurmountable and irreducible, and that is also showing what is their addiction. Oh, we're just going to cover up the fake sun, even though everybody knows, and the only ones that's deceived are these demons who are mentally ill. This is exactly what I've told you from the beginning. They are mentally ill, delusional. The practice of magic and witchcraft is very prevalent. It's very common, and it is also the cause of the loss of the ability to grasp reality. And that's what's wrong with the entity. These are demons as well, so they're already not well. And this is relevant to criminal conduct, which poses a threat to the safety of American citizens. And it's also relevant to the mental illness. While then they're proven, they're all exposed. I put a light over all of them. And then look at the demons that are delusional now. They're covering up the fake sun as though you don't know what's going on. You're witnessing their mental illness, okay? This is the P.O.C. It is currently 12:20 p.m. This is at what is 1820 East G Street. And this is where RAMADA by WYNDHAM is gang stalking at 1841 East G Street. They're engaging in that pattern of conduct with impunity. They've been monitoring my vagina the entire time that I've been here, and that's a prosecution I'm going to recover for, civilly and criminally. Gang stalking immigrants, whatever corner that they're in, they're being deported. And this is relevant for the Department of Homeland Security. Because they're over here engaging in domestic terrorism right now, but there will be a formal prosecution. But my documentation is relevant for what is blowing the whistle right here and now. But this is evidence that's going on the record for a formal prosecution. You will be subject to deportation as you're prosecuted. You will be subject to federal prison based on the facts and circumstances as you are prosecuted. You are going to be labeled as a threat by the Department of Justice as you are prosecuted. This is what the entity is doing, and the entity is doing it while they watched their demise the entire time. They set up and watched the end of their secrecy, the end of their system, the end of that whole existence, that illusion of reality. They watched me blow it to smithereens, and they kept on stalking the entire time. Those were the demons that were psychopathic, obsessed, and murderous the entire time. Okay? All I did was show you, look at what they are, look at what they're doing. That's all I did. And they were that the entire time. So you don't forget who was stalking over here at 1841 East G Street, it's the same demon-possessed entity that was gang stalking at the same time over the Ovid Family Community Library. And covering up the fake sun is showing you how the mentally ill have no business masquerading as law enforcement officers. They're going to federal prison and mental asylums. That's what that evidence is relevant toward, because that's where they're going. That is what that's what justice requires, and that is what is mandated with regard to any person that's exhibiting that level of mental instability that the Ontario Police Department exhibit. Okay? It is currently, again, 12:22 p.m. It is August 25th, 2025, and this is P.O.C. Oh, I want to document, as I already showed, the entity is keeping the fake sun as I'm on G Street. This is the absence of the sun over the Ovid Family Community Library. So the entity is keeping the fake sun as I am remaining. And I want to show you the entity that is gang stalking the moment that I move. That's when the fake sun, that's called stalking with light activity. All right? You're looking at the entity, my shadow becomes more pronounced. That's the demonic pattern of conduct that I've shown you the demon-possessed employ. Stalking with light, stalking with amplified noise, stalking in the path, the demon arriving out of nowhere. The moment that I begin moving and those demons in the parking lot wearing those hard hats are stalking in the path and doing so by talking in a group. Oh, yeah, Saturday night, they're stalking me in the path. The entity, the moment that I begin walking on the sidewalk, which is what I did right now, reciting the time, immediately the fake sun begins shining brightly. That's called stalking with light. The demon possession of everybody that's surrounding me is exhibited through the environment, okay? That's the P.O.C. All right, this entity is gang stalking. I want to go ahead and get through again. This is a sex offender that is doing so while the fake sun begins shining. This is the P.O.C. So I want you to make sure you can see that. Stalking with the Ontario Police Department. There you go. An operation of his communication device, and this is the same one, a so-called dad. This is a pedophile engaging in sexual violence, stalking another woman, engaging in what is terrorism with a corrupt police department, and it is a demon. Demons don't have races, and I just want you to see the absence of the sun remaining over my hotel room like it was doing as I'm documenting during the 11 a.m. hour, as I documented yesterday, during the 2 p.m. hour, as I documented before. I'm documenting the entity that is gang stalking at 4 and 6. There's no sun that's going to be anywhere else, but I'm already documenting what it was never going to be here in the first place as you isolate a venue and prosecute it. That's a federal RICO case. RAMADA by WYNDHAM is a gang stalker, and that's why that specific environment follows me, while sex offenders like this demon in this burgundy truck stalking in the path, he stops in the parking lot where I'm standing. That's a demon that's stalking in the path. That's what the demons wearing the hard hats were doing, keeping a group of them just conversing, not look. That's mental illness. The demons are stalking you, and you're not supposed to know it, and that's also psychopathic for you to stalk somebody like that. That's absurdly weird. And they're also obsessed with your vagina, knowing what's going on with your vagina while they keep their back to you. And, oh, I'm not stalking you because I don't know you, and I don't know your name, and I'm not looking at you, and I'm not standing next to you, and I'm looking in an opposite direction. That's mental illness. All right, license 61743S3. Steve's towing is gang stalking. All right, they're engaging, and the demon driving that vehicle is gang stalking. All right, this is P.O.C. All right, this is the criminal conduct that's disbanding the sex offenders who are the Ontario Police. Stalking me in the middle of the night, molesting with impossible light activity, stalking under a fake sun that remained on Euclid Avenue from sunrise until sunset. Grand departure where this pedophile is stalking in the parking lot, wearing a sticker on the back of his truck calling himself a dad. This is a pedophile that's in some sort of father figure status, and that's a threat to those children who he's also raising to be predators as well. This is the demon-possessed population that is gang stalking as a way of life, engaging in what is public corruption, which is how the wicked live, and it's criminal surveillance against American citizens whose lives are targeted in every area. 9EFT 995, license 8TQW044. The Ontario International Airport has no airport along Vineyard Avenue over the 10 freeway. This is where you see the demons stalking, maintaining aerial surveillance while these demons are stalking in the path. This is a concerted system, and the entity is doing so. And you need to know that businesses in the United States are monitoring you, and it's not just Starbucks. It's CHIC-FIL, Sheraton, MOBIL, In-N-Out, KFC, every WYNDHAM hotel, every Marriott Bonvoy hotel. Marriott Bonvoy. The entity is gang stalking through the people of the state where they're living. That's why I can be at their house and you'll see the fake sun remaining over me. That's not even the sun. That's letting you know that inside of that venue is criminal presence and activity is being created. And these demons thought that they could hide where they live. No. That's realizing what is an obvious identification of a terrorist that lives right there. We know exactly where to go find Osama bin Laden, in other words. He's right there at 1841 East G Street. All right, and the feds are coming. The entities engaged in that pattern of conduct, that's how you're going to prosecute, because that's what they're engaging in, and that there's malice behind that. And that malice is relevant to trying to sneak and get away with murdering someone and getting away with it. That's what that malice, that's why I'm always underscoring malice. That's malice, that's malice, that's malice. Understand that. The entities engaging in conduct with impunity with regard to gang stalking, when you're getting away with trying to murder someone, that's why I'm always pointing that out. Impunity with conspiring murder, that's why you're that's why you're monitoring, that's why you're using a cart, which is not going to cause any earthquake, which is engaged in what is amplified audible activity, and doing so under a fake sun in furtherance of committing murder. Impunity toward conspiring murder while you're gang stalking. That's why I point that out. Impunity with regard to conspiring the murder of an American citizen through terrorism in the United States. That's why I point that out. It is no small thing, and the entity is going to be prosecuted accordingly. This is what a population does against one person. One person. That's P.O.C. Okay? Predators, psychopaths, sex offenders like Tracy Banks, Jason Isaac Fields. The entity, again, my fake family, a bunch of demons who are gang stalkers that have been engaged in monitoring me with license 8MCY396. This is why a public is targeting me while they've been lying about my character, about property that they want to steal from me, that they know belongs to me, because they knew my ability to identify them and call them out both physically for what they do with my legal skill set, and also call them out in the spirit and let you know and put you on guard about psychopaths who hide that they want to present as normal people, and they are demons. They work for Satan, whether they know it or not. They know it, but this is the wicked kind of. They do know, and that's why they've been targeting me, because they're hostile about what I can tell you about them. License 7ZYK274, 9TZM143, DE9W51, I believe. 9FIW082. These are a bunch of psychopaths, a population of stalkers, and a whole bunch of stalkers in the city of Ontario together interested in one woman's vagina. That's sickness. That's mental illness that's shared by a population, and they're all demons. And your ability to know that is their focus on me, proven through an environment that is tailored to stalking me. And that is shared by a demon-possessed agency that goes on ahead and confirms it for you by stalking in a helicopter, which is what you saw, and that's what you're listening to. But you'll see it. I will publish it onto the venue of the internet, and the fake sun is remaining directly over me, covered up. What is the covered up fake sun relevant to? First of all, the specific environment is evidence that's already sitting on the record, and it will never be disregarded and erased, or some sort of means of stating, oh, well, that's not the P.O.C. and that's different because the fake sun is covered up. Those are the demons that are monitoring evidence. Those are the demons that are exhibiting severe mental instability, not just by gang stalking, but then engaging in the pattern of conduct by alternating a particular circumstance within the P.O.C. as though everyone else, again, that's the entity that's maliciously targeting, and that's also how you're understanding the entity's reliance upon the appearance of the thing. Okay, that's getting to malice. To be so delusional, so we're going to cover up the fake sun and do the exact same thing that we're doing every other day. And not only that, in any case, the evidence doesn't go anywhere. The evidence does not go anywhere. No one forgot that you saw the fake sun this morning at 10. No one forgot that the fake sun's not even supposed to be there if the Ovid Family Community Library in the city of Ontario isn't gang stalking at the Ontario Town Square. And if they're not, then they're not gang stalking at Economy Inn. And if they're not, then they're not gang stalking in Los Angeles at Alvarado Gardens. Okay, over a year of documentation of targeting there, and then an outright departure where I relocate to Ontario. After documenting city to city, county to county, there's a whole body of evidence. This is the evidence of mental illness, covering up the fake sun and then engaging in the same harassment and stalking using planes and helicopters. Those are the demons that, first of all, are murderers and pedophiles, and second of all, delusional, have engaged in too much. Understand, when you are playing in witchcraft, when you are following Satan, who is the deceiver, the father of lies, your own mind, your own mental health, your own well-being is the one that is put at risk. These are demons that are not competent enough to understand what it is that has been exposed about them and what is being exposed about them, while they are failing at looking like anything other than the demons in plain view that everyone sees. However, it becomes relevant to understanding what is the purpose behind that wildly unsuccessful tactic, which shows addiction. It shows you're addicted to stalking me. It shows you're obsessed with stalking me, and you're covering up the fake sun, and everybody sees that you're covering up the fake sun. Everybody knows that this is a cartoon environment, and you're out your rabbit brain. Everybody knows that while you're gang stalking. And by the way, in any case, no one's going to forget that there was a rape across the street, and that you're trying to engage in what is another rape, because there were 2 days separated between that rape, that there's no, in any prudent investigation, you're going to look at the facts and circumstances, whether there's an ongoing pattern going along there. These are demons that are delusional. Just giving you an example with regard to how an investigation is executed. These demons that are gang stalking of the Ontario Police Department, these are demons. You're a dummy. If you're thinking that they are some sort of formidable adversary because they're a police department, you are deceived. I said, and I'm going to say it again, when you are of service of the enemy, Satan, you have become dumb. You're a dummy. They're all stalking under a fake sun. All of them. They all thought that that was a good idea. And they all think it's a good idea after it's fully exposed all over the internet. That's not looking bad on any targeted individual that exposes that. It's looking bad on that entity. And it's relevant to criminal defamation while you try to defame the person you're stalking in that absurdly ridiculous environment. It's literally off of the Looney Tunes. There is no sun that's going to remain over a building. And what does that have to do with the targeted individual that documents that? Other than you're mad and you're jealous because I caught the evidence that you never wanted to be known. And so your projection is that that's mental. How is that even relevant to mental illness in the first place? You're looking at the evidence. But this is what the entity has done. While at the same time stealing this so-called foolish evidence and profiting off of it. Trying to suppress it. Suppress it on the internet so that I don't get justice, but also profiting from it. This is why third parties like YouTube are going to be prosecuted. 9GYE221 monitoring, gang stalking with the demons across the street at 430 North Vineyard Avenue, 67066T2. All right, the entity is doing so with regard to this P.O.C. that I have fully exposed already, well before 2025. This has been sitting on the record, and the prolonged term of time that it's taken to get justice, that's a demon that's honking their horns while I'm moving my positioning. That's how obsessed they are with my vagina. That's what you need to understand. All right? Because those are the sex offenders. The sex offenders that I document by business name, by license plate, by department, by city, by mayor. That level of detail and attention to my vagina is they're engaged in that level of monitoring my genitalia as well. Okay? License FL 956. A68. I believe that's a Texas plate. But anyway, the entity is engaging in this pattern of conduct, and the delusion, the harm that you do to yourself when you're engaging in what the Lord has said, what Scripture has said, to stay away from it. It's for your own good. It's for your protection. And this is why you're witnessing the demise of those that are not well mentally. And their delusion with regard to what has long been expired, a secret system of targeting. It's not a secret. And not only is it not a secret, it was never prudent or wise or some genius idea in the first place. It is so obvious. Everybody in Texas, everybody in Nevada, everybody in Massachusetts, everybody in North Dakota knows that California is gang stalking. Because you're looking at a fake sun, and you can look up at the sky over you, and what is that over your head? That's prosecuting the state of California for a demon to fly over my head and covering up the fake sun. You're already aware this is witchcraft. You're already aware this is demonic. You're already aware, in other words, that the illusion of normalcy is gone. So you're looking at demons practicing witchcraft, stalking me in a helicopter under a covered up fake sun. Those are the same ones that are going to mental asylums because of their mental instability, exhibited by stalking in a helicopter and exhibited by still stalking an American citizen, which no sane person would do in that manner, nor under the circumstances of being shown and doing it in front of the whole world. You're going to a mental asylum. And this is, again, solicited by Tracy Banks and Jason Isaac Fields. Those two demons, amongst many others, are going to federal prison. Okay? It is currently, again, 12:35 p.m. The fake sun is not over the Ovid Family Community Library. This is common sense. This is rudimentary. The demons are obsessed with my vagina in the same way that you're witnessing them monitoring on an ongoing basis. They're doing so with regard to what is sexually obsessive conduct. That is a violation of the privacy of an American citizen. And they are violating that American citizen's privacy with a level of satisfaction, because I want to expose to you also the mental instability of the sex offenders, of the predators that are gang stalking at Convention Center and D Street. Recall the gang stalking on August 17, 2021, where the Ontario Police Department have the fake sun over me while I'm showing you the fake sun at 1841 East G Street. during the same time of year, the Ontario Police are being disbanded. The crime scene is the Ontario Police Department. The crime scene is everywhere where they're stalking me under the fake sun. The crime scene is literally Convention Center and D Street, where they are stalking in a vehicle on the roads and the highways with the rest of the people of the state. Another reason why they're being disbanded. And the fake sun is over me on video during the 4 or 5 p.m. hour, where it is right now at 12 o'clock in the afternoon, 12:36 to be exact, where they're stalking on the roads and the highway. They're stalking me, while the fake sun is over me on video. We're in a natural environment, no matter how many years pass, that will never be the case. That it's still going to be here for me to capture on video during the 5 p.m. hour, where I then went to Motel 6, where you saw the Ontario Police gang stalking, where the fake sun is on this same street in alignment with my hotel room on Vineyard at the Motel 6, a gang stalker, replete with the fake sun and the Ontario Police, the demons obsessed with my vagina, exhibiting severe mental illness, the disqualification from law enforcement in the first place, stalking as a whole agency, repeatedly kidnapping, acting with Jason Isaac Fields and Tracy Banks. They're going to federal prison. And the criminal conduct documented on August 17, 2021 will enlighten you about that. And I'm going to go ahead and show you the fake sun that's present. Vineyard is right across the street. It's on the same corner where the G Street is located, where I'm coming from, where I just came from. This is the same intersection. This is what I'm thinking. Their whole population, they're all stalking. And these are demons that are surrounded with evidence already. So I'm going to show you the intersection. Ontario Police are gang stalking at 12:34 p.m. It's 12:37. They're doing so in real time. This is where the Ontario International Airport is gang stalking. The fake sun's over my head. The entity is amplifying plane activity that you're not going to hear when they're taking off like they're supposed to be, when they're not engaged in surveillance from 2500 Airport Road. There is no sun that's going to be over my head on Vineyard, which is adjacent to the, right here, I'm looking at the intersection of Convention Center and D Street, where the fake sun is over me on video on August 17, 2021. The Ontario Police Department has the fake sun over my head, where Jason 19 is gang stalking inside of a police department in the role of a police officer who committed kidnapping in 2020 with the intent to obstruct justice on behalf of Jason Fields and Tracy Banks. He's going to federal prison, and so is Lester Keys. And he's on video where the fake sun is over the Ontario Police Department, also in the morning during the 11 a.m. hour. But I was right here on G Street documenting the Ontario Police gang stalking with a covered up fake sun, with a population of demons surrounding me in a parking lot at a gang stalking establishment, RAMADA by WYNDHAM, where the entity's keeping a fake sun. And you're going to recall what was documented on August 17, 2021, where the crime scene is identified as a police station. That police station that's being removed from existence because the Ontario Police are being disbanded. All right, the entity that is exhibiting, and the entity specifically the Ontario Police, not only are they shown to be stalking me everywhere, their literal police station is a crime scene. That is the quintessence of what is removing a police department, wiping it off of the planet. Okay, it needs to no longer exist. When the literal police station is a crime scene, which is exactly what is happening when the fake sun that is speaking to demons who are engaging in a malicious pattern of conduct of stalking as police officers at a police station with the people of the state, incentivizing public corruption while they are wearing uniforms representing the department, that's the station there, and all the demons. Satan is telling you the Ontario Police Department belongs to him. They serve him. They are in Satan's pocket. They're puppets. They're going to be disbanded. And look at the documentation on August 17, 2021. It's published on my YouTube channel. You can go to my website at thisisthepoc.wordpress.com. Go to the documentation tab. Select look at the P.O.C. Then go to the year 2021. Then select the month August. Go directly to August 17, 2021, and you will see everything documented by time in chronology. With regard to where the fake sun is, and 8LYK130 is proven to be engaging in state surveillance with regard to that evidence, speaking to what is identification of a supernatural environment where statewide surveillance of a demonic nature, of a satanic nature, a psychopathic and sexually perverted nature is ceaselessly underway. While psychopath fools, baboons use helicopters and covering up a fake sun like you're supposed to be fooled. It's really an insult to you. It's an insult to your intelligence. So I'm going to let you know in case you don't recognize that insult. But the federal government is going to rectify it, and the Ontario Police are going to be removed from existence. This is conduct that is incentivizing it. Gang stalking at the Wendy's, license plate. Crossing path is license 9BAT416. So let me show you the fake sun over my head while they're stalking me with the Ontario Police Department. License 67589R1, 7SYN191. Gang stalking through the drive-through 7GQX769, and license 18632U3. The criminal business practices of Wendy is relevant to that federal RICO case. They're engaging in what is transactions with the people making money while criminal activity is underway. They're engaging in the elements of monitoring. They're engaging in surveillance, and they're calling it fast food restaurant, calling it the fast food restaurant industry. In the United States, it is. All right, it's public corruption. In case you did not know, Wendy's is monitoring. Be careful what you eat from them as well. They serve Satan. They employ demons. They serve demons. And you also need to be careful because the demons are engaged in systematic poisoning of people. Okay, it's not the FDA that's letting you know about what's in the food and to stop eating all these processed foods. The demon possessed that are gang stalking, that actually hate you, that are engaged in monitoring you, are also systematically poisoning you. And you need to know that this is what these restaurants are engaged in. Now, they're not only monitoring you, they are engaged in putting things in your food, which is not just bad business. It's relevant to the demons that they are, killing as many people as they can, sacrificing them. This is what the gang stalking airlines are engaged in. They're not engaged in tragic accidents. They sacrifice people. They fly into mountains, fly into bodies of water, fly into each other on purpose. It's called a satanic sacrifice. These are the demons that are engaging in the surveillance system where there's no privacy and they're not strangers. This is a means of targeting. It is the P.O.C. that's underway in Ontario. All right, it's currently 12:42 p.m. Wendy's is located at 1890 East G Street. And you're going to be prosecuted as a business where gang stalking is happening on your property. All right, and you're also going to be prosecuted because gang stalking is actually underway, as you also know, not ignorantly on their property, but it's happening while their employees are in gang stalking. It's happening while their patrons are gang stalking. It's happening while the government is acting directly gang stalking around that property and on that property and over that property. You're going to be prosecuted whether the establishment is open or closed. You're going to be prosecuted. It is currently 12:42 p.m. and this is P.O.C. Don't forget, August 17, 2021. Take a 8ZRK516, gang stalking with the Ontario International Airport, which is stalking using commercial planes, very psychopathic stalking, creeping in a plane and then flying low down to the ground so that they can feign a takeoff behind this Bombay Banquet Hall Ultra Lounge Plaza. Those are the demons that are stalking obsessively, engaging in that conduct because they're demons. That level of obsession with me and that extreme means of stalking is your evidence of the fact that they're not only engaging in criminal surveillance, which the evidence already proves, you're aware of their mental illness and their condition. Those are demons that are obsessively stalking in that manner. 7ZPZ586, 8NLT930, 7BBG539. And by the way, there's no takeoff when they are, they're north of the Ontario International Airport while they're engaging in that. And there's no perpetual hovering through the city when they're flying over what is G Street and Euclid Avenue, which is, again, miles away. The entity's not taking off, they're stalking. This is the unintelligent system of gang stalking as I'm breaking it down for you. 7RKH546, that's amplified audible activity under a fake sun that's still here after 5 p.m. as documented on August 17, 2021. That's understanding the significance of everything that you see and hear. These are demons that are monitoring, and they're also imps, intellectually inferior creatures. License 7RGM918, 35875E4, 8N58502. They're all sex offenders, pedophiles, also sex offenders monitoring my vagina. A homosexual obsessed with me, 9AGZ975. These gang stalking women engage in homosexual violence. 6AMC317, license 6RRF708. P.O.C. I'm at, again, D Street and Convention Center at Vineyard. And this is where an entity is keeping a fake sign. And I've documented this location already before. Like, for example, August in 2021. This is P.O.C. License plate 9TNR359, stalking at 231 North Vineyard Avenue. This is Motel 6, where the fake sign is over me as I check in on August 17, 2021, where the establishment is gang stalking, and so is the Ontario Police Department, which I documented on this day. They were stalking me in the parking lot while Tracy Banks, a gang stalking co-conspirator to my death, and using things like a secret conservatorship while monitoring me with the Ontario Police, kidnapping, stalking today, and has been stalking for years with her, including, like I documented on August 17th, in 2021, she's going to federal prison, okay, and so is her sex partner, Jason Isaac Fields, 9SKY719, and at 12:48 p.m. during the same time of year in 2025, the Ontario Police are proven to be demons who have been engaged in years of surveillance, psychological torture, harassment, and terrorism, while not only they're keeping me under surveillance and furtherance of murder and theft of money and property that belongs to me, but they are doing so as demons. This is mental illness that's also proven through that pattern of conduct, and they're stalking in this parking lot while I am here, and Tracy Banks is checking me in, getting a hotel room. And this is the fake sun that's over me right now at what is 12:48 10:49 p.m. Look at the documentation on August 17, 2021. Well, you will see the Ontario Police engaging what is stalking under their fake sun while they are aware that I'm documenting. This is psychological torture while you walk outside. To capture that documentation, demons that are monitoring you do so through a demon-possessed agency that represents law enforcement who are engaged in stalking and psychologically torturing you. And you are unaware of that when you are ignorant about the pattern of conduct. The Ontario Police is being disbanded for this. You're going to look at them stalking me at the same venue at after 5 o'clock in the evening, 4 or 5 o'clock in the evening on August 17, 2021. And Motel 6 is sharing in that threat, sharing in that psychological torture. That's why the fake sun's over my hotel room. That's why the gang stalking demons, the patrons who are paying to keep me under surveillance, just like they're using planes and helicopters and police departments and all the businesses. This is how important I am to the demon possessed. That's how much of an investment I am with regard to keeping me under surveillance. I am very much important. This is the exact opposite of the demons that want to claim paranoid schizophrenia. They want to claim hallucination. They want to claim that you're mentally ill. And actually, it's the entity that is mentally ill. And they go to extreme and expensive and tremendously demented efforts to stalk you, as I've shown and I've proven. And the entity that is delusional, you're hallucinating with regard to you're being subject to anything other than federal prison while gang stalking me under a fake sun and representing a corrupt law enforcement agency, because that's what this evidence shows. Motel 6 is located at 231 North Vineyard Avenue in Ontario. And in the natural environment, the sun is never, no matter 4 years passing, going to be over me at the same address at both 12 and after 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. But the entity went beyond that. After 5, when I'm in my hotel room, the Ontario Police then engage in what is flying in circles, exhibiting mental illness by pacing in a helicopter, impossible light inside and outside, while the demons are stalking at the hotel, doing so with the entity that is gang stalking at that venue, 231 North Vineyard Avenue, where the fake sun is present, not the natural environment. Speaking to what the City of Ontario is doing with commercial planes, Alan D. Wapner's removal, and helicopters, Mike Lorenz's removal, the City of Ontario gang stalking in small planes, gang stalking in commercial planes, gang stalking as a population of psychopaths who are stalking. And you need to know that this is what demon-possessed people do. This is the work of Satan. License 7BEW 188. All right, and this chubby demon that should not be showing her midriff to anything or anyone is pacing in the parking lot. And the license plate surrounding 8MJR 143. License 6KWC 249, 6MML 558. License 8MMR 332. And the entity is stalking as I'm walking on Vineyard Avenue. As I am walking south, the planes are migrating just like you see on Euclid Avenue. License 5ZDP388. This is P.O.C. And this is Motel 6 gang stalking, just like I showed in 2024 in Arcadia, California. The Motel 6, the brand, the logo, the company, the people of the state, commercially stalking. That's a federal RICO case. And Motel 6 before, the Motel 6 on 4th Street in Ontario, the Motel 6 on right here on Vineyard Avenue, gang stalking. And this is a prosecution of that business, which represents the people. Every business in California is engaged in state surveillance, and I will be prosecuting as you're witnessing how that criminal system is executed with the government. 7EOJ 764. And it's currently, by the way, 12:52 p.m. P.O.C. All right, stalking, 8 PSU 484, stalking in the parking lot, lying in wait at Starbucks, which I've also documented. Impossible light behind me, terrorizing as a population, not strangers, know exactly who I am, and the evidence of the fake sun confirms that for you. License 7MBE 690, 7XKL 237, 9JHP 126, 9DJL 090, 7XJW 406, surveillance, a white male, dark brown mustache, bald head, glasses, stalking, and license 7XJW 406, while another demon crosses path with impossible light activity coexisting. That's the specific pattern of conduct, not normal people minding their business, engage in constitutionally protected private activity. It's pursuant to the P.O.C. of gang stalking by demons that are conspiring to murder someone, that they are stalking obsessively as an entity in a specific and readily identifiable environment. All right, that's also a sex offense committed. Again, so this is the entity that is engaged in that conduct and is doing so with regard to, again, another unidentified, another mysterious white male stalking a black woman, keeping my vagina under surveillance, and a psychopath that likes to wave at the camera when they are, again, focused on me. And I'll show you the evidence of their focusing on me. The fake sun's right over my head. All right, this is P.O.C. And that's what psychopaths do when they're being documented as delusional psychopaths who are stalking. All right, stalking with black people. You see the black people that are stalking me too? These demons, they don't have races. These are demon-possessed people who are just using bodies. There's a lot of mixed races in Ontario, California. If I was in Asia and it was all Asian people, guess what the demons would all look like? All Asian people. Satan does not have a race. He uses people who are of a plethora of races. But I will be clear, white people in California in particular, in the United States, they like to claim racist doctrines that make absolutely no sense whatsoever while they're monitoring and obsessed with black people that they're stalking. And they also want to claim that their racist ideals are speaking to some sort of supremacy. No, those are demons. And racism is another demonic spirit. All right, it's currently... And the reality is that these white people are stalking black people. That's what they don't want you to know. They're demons. Okay, it's currently 12:56 p.m. This is Starbucks. It's located at... let me see. I will go ahead and include the address, but I've documented this Starbucks. It's at Vineyard and Euclid, early in the morning sunrise. So it's 12:56. This is the demon that's waving at the camera because he knows that he's caught. So what does Satan do? He smiles and says Jesus. Sometimes Satan has a fit and engages in threatening conduct and comes and asks dumb questions that they know the answer to. 7ZZS407, and that's because they're embarrassed. Satan engages in a plethora of different types of behaviors, but nonetheless, it's the P.O.C. when the demons are caught in a specific environment. This is the P.O.C. with regard to gang stalking. It is currently 12:56 p.m. Starbucks is monitoring while I'm under surveillance in the parking lot of Starbucks. Impossible light while opening the door at Starbucks. And the fake sun that's at Starbucks, by the way, 8 o'clock in the morning, which is on the record before 2025, which is relevant to gang stalking by Starbucks at 507 North Euclid Avenue, because it's not over both Starbucks off of Euclid Avenue and the one at 706 West Holt and this one at Euclid and Vineyard, where the entity is engaging in what is targeting with impossible light. That's targeting. That's not random conduct that anybody's ignorant about. This is the entity of mentally ill psychopaths who are stalking in a manner that is very clear and precise, and they're engaging in that while they are while they are caught engaging in it. That's relevant to the malice behind the system of public corruption, gang stalking in the first place, which Starbucks, who has already shown its hand, they're monitoring you. So you need to be aware of that. And they're demons. Hi. Is it possible to get a cup of ice?
I just have to purchase something.
Yeah, that's fine. Is there okay, this is P.O.C. What's your guys' address here, Arlene?
111 North Vineyard Avenue.
111 North Vineyard Avenue? Okay. All right, this is P.O.C. It's currently 12:58 p.m. Okay, Arlene is monitoring impossible light while the demons are in the parking lot engaging in the exact same conduct that I documented outside, okay? So that's terrorism. As you've seen, the demons at 507 North Euclid Avenue engage in. License 9RVE397 is engaging in terrorism, stalking outside while the fake sun's over me, and Arlene is engaging in terrorism while she is in my face smiling. That's psychological torture that Starbucks is engaging in. Okay, that impossible light is relevant to surveillance which is underway in furtherance of committing your murder. You're being targeted everywhere that you're going, including at Starbucks, which is intentionally doing so. Remember, Starbucks engages in kidnapping when they're hostile to you, documenting them. That's what the threat that Arlene and every other demon that's working at Starbucks is sharing in. Arlene is maliciously targeting me with the demons that are pacing outside in the parking lot with impossible light while the fake sun's over this Starbucks, where it's never going to be if it's sitting over Ovid Family Community Library, okay, where the P.O.C. is underway. So just want to make sure I document that. It is currently 12:59 p.m. This is P.O.C. All right, so you're going to pay attention to the same exact pattern of conduct that's exhibited at every other Starbucks. It's the maintenance of a business, which is maliciously acting on behalf of the state. The impossible light activity dancing inside of the Starbucks, the light fixtures you see inside, and then the inexplicable light, a group of the shadow of my hands is occurring as I'm showing you that they're all stalking as that environment is surrounding them being the people of the state, including the demons that are wearing FedEx uniforms, gang stalking. And as I document this demon, more and more customers who are gang stalking with Starbucks, who is gang stalking, enter into the venue, all with multiple shadows, fake sun over the top of my head in its zenith at the entrance of the Starbucks. Impossible light fanning inside, just like you've seen at every other Starbucks. License FY652 handicap, and the demons that are monitoring. The demon that was waving high, he represents an entity, a population of demons that are gang stalking. 9DJL090, and this demon that is crossing path, license 8DTB964, and the entity is stalking with commercial planes. You already know what the Ontario International Airport is doing, so while all angles of that case is already existing, I'm showing you stalking underway inside of another Starbucks, which is already on the record, okay, that they're gang stalking. The fake sun that is over the Starbucks now is not the natural environment, which is also the evidence prosecuting Starbucks, the corporation headquartered in Seattle, but also relevant to the gang stalking that's underway in the city of Ontario. The fake sun is present over me at this same address in the morning as I'm documenting Tracy Banks and the people of the state targeting at this venue by buying coffee. Okay, so what's my form for why am I stalking you? I'm not stalking you because I'm buying coffee. This is the entity that's engaged in surveillance, state surveillance, and they're buying coffee under a fake sun and amongst impossible light, while Starbucks, the company, the establishment, and the employees, in concert with the patrons, are engaging in terrorism together. Okay, the drive-thru is demonic pacing, light activity, while the entity is maintaining ongoing surveillance by demons flying commercial planes, and you already know that the Ontario police are stalking obsessively. So this is the entity, and all angles are underway while I'm showing you the environment where a bunch of demons are maliciously targeting one person, and this is the entity that's engaging in that. This is the P.O.C. at the Starbucks located at, while they are monitoring on the venue of the internet as well. I want to be clear, Starbucks Wi-Fi is relevant to federal stalking, surveillance regarding evidence that the entity is monitoring, okay? And the entity is doing so with, that is a stalker that knows that it's being exposed for stalking, and that stalker is under no circumstances deterred. That is speaking to mental illness of a stalker that is engaging in what is a conspiracy to murder someone, and they're no longer secretly stalking as a government system, and they're engaging in what you're able to know and be aware of, that mentally ill people who have a specific condition engaging in public corruption are gang stalking, and it goes under names such as Starbucks, okay? Any Starbucks that you're at that's engaging in what is profiting off of the system of federal group stalking and monitoring. The gang stalkers come in and purchase from them to share in the elements of monitoring. The employees themselves are maniacal psychopaths, monitoring the vagina, monitoring your genitalia in the private space, monitoring what you're doing inside of a bathroom, which is something that you need to associate Starbucks with, because that's exactly what they're engaged in. That's what the demons that are working there preparing your coffee drinks are engaged in. It's 1:17 p.m. And this Starbucks relevant to what is a pattern in the city of Ontario, which is relevant to the pattern in the state of California. This Starbucks is located at, again, 111 North Vineyard Avenue. I'm going to confirm that right now. At the intersection of Euclid Avenue and Vineyard. Let's see. The Starbucks is located, again, it is 111 North Vineyard Avenue. The evidence of the Starbucks, which is evidence of Starbucks in general, okay? Starbucks is gang stalking in the United States. Starbucks is monitoring. Starbucks is a demonic company, a corrupt company that's in other parts of this world engaging in this terrorism, where people don't have a constitution, by the way. And that's speaking of the inhumanity of what Starbucks is actually engaged in, what they represent, and how they make money in doing it. They are engaging in that with a level of impunity and disregard and appetite for violence, as you've seen the ongoing acts of obstruction of justice by Starbucks, engaging in harassment, terrorism, obstruction of justice, because they're sex offenders who want to monitor my vagina uninterrupted. Okay, because they want to engage in gang stalking me with a bunch of psychopaths who come in and buy from them so they can engage in that program with the government, because they don't want that to stop, because they don't want that to be exposed, and so they engage in kidnapping. Those are the predators that are going to prison. And they're walking in here, by the way, buying coffee and engaging in that P.O.C. License 9GSU139 998 5CW. Gang stalking, that's a Nevada plate. Gang stalking, while you hear that phone go off, because I stood up to document these demons at the entrance. License, again, that's a Nevada plate 998 5CW. All right, this is P.O.C. This is sick behavior while a bunch of sick perverts are engaging in what is surveillance and to the point of death. This is what the entity is invested in. And this is what Jason Isaac Fields and Tracy Banks have solicited while the surveillance system that you need to understand is underway in the United States. And any predator, someone that doesn't like you, like my mother, like her sex partner, Jason Isaac Fields, can solicit for the government to target you in order to murder you, defame you in doing so, ruin your career, ruin every aspect of your life, and then take your life altogether, take your liberty, accuse you for crimes you didn't commit. And where the gang stalkers say that you did it, that's what the entity will reflect, including through the corrupt courts and corrupt law enforcement that surround you with what is manufactured evidence in order to support that and accomplish the kidnapping and murder that's committed as an entity. This is why they're going to federal prison, because this is psychopathic conduct that's committed by businesses and a population is why Tracy Banks and Jason Isaac Fields are going to federal prison. Okay? P.O.C. It's currently 1:20 p.m. The entity is engaged in surveillance on the internet, like they always are. Impossible light swimming inside of the venue, while a bunch of people that are not sane want to present as being sane people, engaging in what is quote-unquote normal behavior, coming in and buying coffee, which Starbucks is associated with California Life. California Life is engaging in gang stalking. That's what you need to know Starbucks is at the pinnacle of, okay? Engaging in terrorism, making a purchase from Starbucks and doing so, again, license 9 GSU 1 through 9. All right, it is currently 1:21 p.m. and this is obstruction built into the criminal conduct of Starbucks and the people because they're now engaging in slowing down, trying to stop the internet upload on Starbucks' Wi-Fi network. This is P.O.C. All right, 1:23 p.m. Ocean, who's going to federal prison, is gang stalking. She's at the Starbucks at 111 North Vineyard Avenue. No coincidences when the fake sun's supposed to be over the establishment that she works at 507 North Euclid Avenue as well. She's going to federal prison. She committed kidnapping while the fake sun is in the same city over me at another company, sharing that criminal pattern of conduct with the agency, stalking this morning in helicopter, stalking me with her while she's engaged in obstruction on July 4th, 2025. She walks in aware of, again, what the entire entity knows, that I'm documenting, and she is going to federal prison. This is P.O.C. 1:24 p.m. and that's a threat, having engaged in, and that threat she's going to prison for. So the entity is engaging in this conduct. You're going to legally analyze everything that the demon-possessed entity commits. You're going to surround it with federal legislation. You're going to prosecute. It's a tactic of Starbucks that's engaging in what is that threat. While they know that Starbucks, the franchise, has been documented throughout Ontario, it's throughout California. The Starbucks in Pomona, the Starbucks in Pasadena, there's a Starbucks in Montclair that I'm documenting the entity targeting. I'm documenting the entity gang stalking at a plethora in the heavily documented city of Ontario. At all Starbucks are engaging in the P.O.C. And Ocean is engaged in criminal summoning, and she's going to federal prison for it. And she is gang stalking by walking into the venue, aware of the fact that I'm present, and that knowledge is proven to the fake sun. That's not over, by the way, 507 North Euclid Avenue, contrary to documentation that's already sitting on the record, which is also why she's going to prison. The malicious pattern of conduct of criminally summoning the murderers of the Ontario police, the kidnappers, with the intent to obstruct justice because you want to monitor my vagina and you don't want me to document what I have a right to not be subject to. All right, this is P.O.C. It's 1:25 p.m. All right, Starbucks at 111 North Vineyard Avenue, sharing in federal stalking with the intent to obstruct justice, just like RAMADA by WYNDHAM, while blocking the access to internet. This is exactly what the demons are doing. Fake sun over my head, monitoring impossible light inside of the venue. Ocean gang stalking from 507 North Euclid Avenue, also walking in, participating in criminal monitoring. Their demons are doing so pursuant to what is gang stalking with the intent of trying to conceal that, and that's a threat to your life. Okay, so this is, again, Starbucks that's sharing in what it's the conspiracy to commit murder. They're doing so with regard to the sex offense committed as an entity. They're doing so with knowledge that they are being documented, and they are engaging in an ongoing desperate effort with a bunch of demons who are stalking inside of a small little cafe. This is the mental illness that is borne by companies that you need to understand are exhibiting severe levels of malice, and they're engaging in what is criminal monitoring, targeting American citizens. While they're, again, this is Starbucks Wi-Fi, which is where federal stalking is underway, and this is the entity that is stalking inside of the venue, while they're all focused on what is my evidence that is going on the internet, including the entity that engaged in the criminal offense of obstruction of justice tactics pursuant to federal stalking under the name of Starbucks on Starbucks Wi-Fi network, in concert with all the demons, the same people of the state that you see gang stalking as an entity everywhere that I'm going, under a fake sun, impossible light day and night, psychopaths obsessed with my vagina, following me into every Starbucks in the city of Ontario, and monitoring the evidence for the entirety of this prosecution. This is, again, relevant to evidence that is exposing Jason Isaac Fields, who's going to federal prison, including while his co-defendant, Starbucks, the people of the state, the city of Ontario, random demons stalking, psychopaths following me around, are monitoring evidence that they're together trying to stop from being published online. This is P.O.C. It's 1:41 p.m. This is federal stalking in violation of Title 18, and it is committed with the intent to obstruct justice. So this is what the demons always do. I just want to make sure that it's documented in real time, because this is the ongoing obsessive and delusional endeavor. There's thousands of videos already published. The entity is engaging in the pattern of conduct with regard to mental illness. This is the ongoing commitment and investment in murder. Doing so while the secret is already out, while the feds are already aware, while you're witnessing and watching them engage in that conduct in real time while I am simultaneously exposing it. Okay? P.O.C. License 18446P2. License 9LSC 602. Coming in, purchasing from Starbucks, engaging in the pattern of conduct in doing so. Stalking in the path, standing in alignment to me, and under the guise of, oh, we're waiting for our drink. One demon after another engaging in that. They all have multiple shadows. They're all under the fake sun, which is over my head, which followed me to this establishment where everything concerning 111 North Vineyard Avenue is criminal monitoring. This is P.O.C. And this is mental illness by a malicious pattern of, by a malicious entity who are a bunch of demons stalking one woman together. And they're all engaged in what is that sex offensive monitoring in a private space as well. So these are sex offenders that are just following from place to place. All right, very, very sick and demented conduct committed as an entity, as a society. It's 1:42 p.m. This is P.O.C. All right, I just want to document, this is an unlawful search of my phone. So this is what Starbucks is engaging in. Starbucks, again, the government doesn't have any warrant, and Starbucks doesn't have any warrant to do so vicariously with the state. So this is surveillance, freezing my phone, trying to stop the upload. This is while this demon, Jason as it feels, is in real time, still utilizing witchcraft. This is a psychopath who was spiritually attacking in concert with all these demons. Remember, this is a spiritual attack while they're gang stalking under a fake sun and an engineer light flying across. This is demonic. You need to understand that Starbucks is engaging in the practice of witchcraft right in front of your face. It's a demonic company. They hire demons. They perpetuate Satanism, and they do it in a commercial means, and you are conditioned to accept it and even think that it's cool, a way of life, especially in California. There's no warrant to engage in what I'm documenting. This is a freeze on my phone, which the entity is engaging in with regard to trying to stop me from publishing what is legally relevant evidence against Starbucks, which represents a third party that's gang stalking in the shoes of the state. So I'm prosecuting the state, I'm documenting the government, while Starbucks is monitoring on my phone. Understand that? All right, I'm capturing a screenshot. It's 1:45 p.m. The entity is freezing my device with regard to surveillance that's underway on Starbucks' Wi-Fi network. This is federal stalking that's underway, not only criminal surveillance, but surveillance that's now underway, monitoring on my phone, trying to stop me from publishing that evidence. That's the conduct of a maniacal psychopath who wants to secretly murder you and have you not tell anybody about it. That's what Starbucks is engaging in. You need to understand that and recognize it, because that's literally what they're about, okay? It's currently 1:45 p.m. These videos that they are engaging in trying to obstruct, it's all going on the internet, including every aspect of this criminal conduct committed in furtherance of obstruction. And that's relevant to you so that you know that Starbucks is a domestic terrorist. Starbucks is engaged in psychological war tactics against American citizens, American citizens who have a right to not be subject to this, which Starbucks is fully engaged in, profiting from, interested in continuing, seeking to violate a woman's rights who has a right to not be subject to this violence that Starbucks is engaging in. Starbucks is pro-gang stalking, pro-monitoring, pro-violence against women while they're engaging in it and trying to stop me from publishing evidence about it. Not stopping it, not barring other people from engaging in it, but engaging in a delusional pattern while they are seeking to try to just stop me from exposing it. And that's going to be relevant on the opposite side of a prosecution where people are going to be on a different side of history, okay? But this is showing what they are, as they are, and what they engaged in before they anticipated they were going to be exposed for it. It's 1:46 p.m. It's federal stalking on the venue of the internet, P.O.C. All right. The entity is monitoring with impossible light activity. The more damning the evidence, the more violent the light activity, the more psychopathic their conduct becomes, meaning more obvious because you already know it's psychopathic. Monitoring with impossible light is license 6FFX271, 6RTA453. These are demons that are pacing into Mr. Fry's at 111 North Vineyard Avenue. This is a whole shopping plaza, and I've documented them before. They're under the fake sun, and the entity Starbucks is going to be prosecuted for ongoing domestic terrorism, psychological torture, being sex offenders monitoring my vagina, and then trying to double as a cafe, a coffee cafe. They're going to be prosecuted for that, and they're engaging in what is the specific pattern of conduct with knowledge that they're being documented, which is relevant to their investment in conspiring the murder of an American citizen, that they are gang stalking, and gang stalking with the government that's stalking by planes, that's stalking under a fake sun, and they're making money off of it at the same time. I'm being terrorized with impossible light. I'm documenting the pattern of conduct of Starbucks and Walmart, California. Excuse me. Well, there is, I don't mean Walmart, but I believe there are Starbucks. Oh, no, that's Vaughn's. But I'm documenting the pattern of conduct of Starbucks in Walnut, California, in what is Pomona, California, in Pasadena, California, and Montclair, California. And the entity is engaging in the pattern of conduct of showing you that specific environment where Starbucks is targeting me. in targeting through every city, which is the statewide P.O.C. And Starbucks is a violent sex offender and a terrorist that's invested in murdering American citizens, and they also want your money and sell you coffee products while they do so. All right, they are engaging in psychopathic behavior as though they're focused on coffee drinks when all manner of impossible lights appearing. These are demons and it's demonic. And everything that Starbucks is engaging in is relevant to that conduct, while they are again exhibiting what is actual mental illness, contrary to what the medical field is conditioning in this country for you to recognize mental illness as. Okay, you're stalking inventory inside of the specific environment under the fake sun while you're gang stalking, and impossible light is shooting inside. That's the outward demonstration of actual mental illness. All right, and the entity is engaging in criminal conduct in doing so. It's also relevant to what is the sexual pattern of conduct that's underway inside of the bathroom, inside of this facilitating venue, not a private property, where Ocean engaged in gang stalking using kidnapping as the means of obstruction of justice at 507 North Euclid Avenue. Okay, this is relevant to what I'm documenting right now while I'm publishing it, and the entity's monitoring online and engaging in what are acts of terrorism because they're sex offenders who don't want to be exposed as such. And you need to understand that that's Starbucks. This is specifically 111 North Vineyard Avenue. The demons that are in the drive-thru are targeting me, which they've already shown to be engaged in. These are demons that are targeting on behalf of what is Tracy Banks, the gang stalkers that sought to steal my property, lying in courts about my character. These are all the demons that are targeting together, and they tried to murder me and steal my property. Jason Fields and Tracy Banks are going to prison. As surely as these psychopaths are stalking me at a Starbucks cafe, at Vineyard and Euclid Avenue in Ontario, California. Excuse me, Vineyard and Holt Boulevard in Ontario, California, which is nobody's imagination. It certainly isn't when it's in hard evidence, tangible evidence in conformity to a pattern of conduct where the entity has been conspiring against my life and conspiring to steal my property, has been systematically stealing my property for years. All right, it's currently 2:23 p.m. This is P.O.C. Impossible light coexisting with what is the presence in the path by demons that are gang stalking through the provision of Starbucks, a criminal that's engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring in the U.S. They are providing and welcoming and engaging in that act of terrorism with the government, in the shoes of the government, and the government maliciously masquerades as what is a third-party company, Starbucks. Okay, it's P.O.C. It's 2:24 p.m. at 111 North Vineyard Avenue. All right, engaging in terrorism, ongoing accosting with impossible light activity in concert with Starbucks and everybody that's working at the Starbucks. They are conspiring. The city of Ontario is targeting through a population of demons that are engaging in the criminal system of gang stalking, which is only committed in furtherance of committing a murder. And this is what you need to know, that Starbucks is engaging in, facilitated, and invested in. And this is, again, a government system that the corrupt company Starbucks is participating in with knowledge and intent. That's why the fake sun's over their venue, and that which is not sunlight is remaining inside while demons are pacing in and out of their venue, not a private property, and the employees are pacing around in engineered light, not the product of light activity when you're under lamps and light fixtures inside of the venue. They are maliciously gang stalking as a company, doubling as what is supposed to be focused on being baristas and preparing coffee drinks. They're engaged in criminal surveillance in the United States, and they're doing this across the globe. Okay, the entity is doing so with regard to the more evidence that I publish online, the more impossible light activity. And this is speaking to the mental illness of the demon-possessed that are always psychopaths. They've been at the outset. The more that you expose them, the more psychopathic your behavior becomes. And that's relevant to the threat posed by the demon-possessed population that you need to be aware of, and the criminal conduct, the monitoring conduct that you need to be aware of underway by them in the environment that you also need to be aware of, okay? So this is what's going on inside of Starbucks, and you have the entity that's engaging the P.O.C. by the, again, Arlene and every other demon that's engaging in gang stalking on the clock. They are monitoring and they are aware of who I am while the fake sun is over me as I walk to this venue, and it remains over this venue while the entity is stalking with impossible light. Okay, this is P.O.C. It is currently 2:27 p.m. I'm going to document the entity that is engaged in the sex offense that is monitoring me. This is license 7YFL428. Stalking in the path, the fake sun is over my head. You'll see this at 2:10 p.m. while the demon is in relevant position, engaging in surveillance, federal stalking on the venue of the internet. She is doing so while I am capturing that fake sun over my head while she's in the path at what is 111 North Vineyard Avenue, which is the environment where she's engaging in surveillance as an entity. This is shared by the County of San Bernardino Child Support Services, where you need to know the entity that is full of pedophiles are engaged in what is the government system of child support services, you have pedophiles that are engaging in the public corruption of federal stalking monitoring and also working with children, such as the county of San Bernardino, which you already know the county of San Bernardino is engaged in the sex offense of gang stalking. And they're gang stalking right now in the same parking lot at what is the plaza shared by Starbucks where the fake sun is over me, and a bunch of demons are in their vehicles stalking in the path, all obsessing over me, and their obsession and their knowledge and their focus on me is the proof of the evidence of a fake sun that's showing you a bunch of demons who are stalking me as that fake sun remains, and all they're doing is pacing all around. This is an ongoing ritual until they take your life. This is the failed sacrifice, and this is exposing it in real time, and it's also the evidence putting Jason Fields and Tracy Banks in prison. License 8JHY380. This is a psychopath engaging in surveillance, stalking a woman, and doing so with the government, and doing so in furtherance of committing murder of this woman that he is gang stalking on camera at 2:09 p.m. under the fake sun, which is in its zenith over the top of my head at 111 North Vineyard Avenue. The sex offender gang stalking inside of Starbucks in the same position that the demon replacing him is engaging in, sitting inside of the venue, maintaining surveillance in the presence of the demons that are pacing in and out and the demons that are working, pacing, monitoring with impossible light under that fake sun with the government that's engaging in surveillance directly. This is license 4TTS987, and he is inside of the venue gang stalking, wearing the Levi shirt. Wearing the Levi shirt, the black glasses, and the cap. And he is walking to that vehicle with that license plate. He's engaged in surveillance, the sex offense of gang stalking committed in furtherance of murdering an American citizen. This is conspiracy to murder while you're gang stalking with the state. This is a federal charge, and it's also federal stalking, and it's with the company Starbucks that's engaging in that with its gang stalking patrons, and they're all demons, okay? This is public corruption as I'm documenting it and exposing it in real time. The rest of the demons gang stalking license plate 8YMN999. They're all sex offenders molesting with impossible light as an entity. More sex offenders. These are pedophiles that I'm documenting, okay? These are the demons that have sex with children. While they're gang stalking me, they're pedophiles, and this the sex system of trafficking children and having sex with children, this is the same entity that is gang stalking me. And it's a government system. License, 9LVV181. And the entity is doing so, again, based on knowledge of my documentation. And so this is psychopathic behavior. You document them, and then the entity will fly over you for 20 minutes in a helicopter. Okay? And then that sits on the record. And then you're mindful of where the sun was at when that absurdly obvious and criminal act of terrorism by a government that is being systematically documented engages in what is keeping a fake sun in an entirely different location, such as RAMADA by WYNDHAM at 1841 East G Street, where the fake sun is over my head, over the roof of that hotel. And the entity is engaging in what is gang stalking as you're identifying that environment where the government is stalking, okay? And is engaging in what is stalking because they have conspired your murder, where they are solicited in doing so by people like Tracy Banks and Jason Isaac Fields, who are of this demonic entity targeting American citizens as a part of a program, a secret system that is underway in the United States and not a secret anymore. So I understand that gang stalking is the system whereby the government has put a contract on your head, a contract to take your life, and this system is supposed to result in what is taking your life and also defaming your character in doing so. So you're going to be written off as a drug addict, as a criminal, as a suicidal, paranoid person that was thinking that everybody was stalking you and you lost it, and then you just, offed yourself in a parking lot somewhere. This is the entity that's conspiring your death while that gang stalking you, and it is underway in the United States. Every business is engaged in federal stalking. Every business in the state of California, and every business that's engaged in federal stalking is conspiring the death of an American citizen, whether or not they realize the legal implications regarding surveilling with the government and doing so while you're operating a business. But I want to be clear, these demons are personally engaging in gang stalking, using their businesses as well, and you are engaging in all of that, and they're going to be prosecuted for all of that. Stalking with impossible light is relevant to psychological torture, which these businesses are also engaging in. Stalking with impossible light is relevant to the sex offense, the perpetual sex offense committed as an entity, which businesses are also going to be prosecuted for. And the entity is doing so pursuant to the obstruction of justice tactic, while they're, in other words, sex offenders, stalkers, psychos, wannabe, would-be, conspiring to be murderers, and they're hostile because you expose them. This is why the federal law is going to be tailored in the way that it is. This is why the federal repercussions regarding domestic terrorism and psychological torture via gang stalking is going to be executed in the way that it is, because justice requires it. It's currently 2:32 p.m. This is P.O.C. This is a sex offense, terrorism that I'm subject to as a pattern of conduct amongst Starbucks, every Starbucks. And that's, by the way, the prosecution of the state of California, the people of the state, the population. And there is no pattern that could possibly exist but for the entity engaging in the very allegations that are proven by the government, and that is necessarily doing it through the people of the state and the corrupt businesses such as Starbucks. This is 111 North Vineyard Avenue. This is P.O.C. You're going to see the same demon-possessed sex offenders trying to act like they're focused on each other when the woman's engaged in homosexual conduct, homosexual violence. She's monitoring another woman. She's molesting another woman with impossible light while she's stalking another woman while wanting to appear as a heterosexual. This is a demon. They're both under the fake sun. They're both in engineer light. They're gang stalking with the government that is keeping a fake sun over me, and while impossible light is moving all around. This is the entity that is gang stalking at 2:40 p.m. My breasts are being molested with impossible light while they are stalking and monitoring my device on the venue of the internet. And doing so while this demon crosses path. Let me get you this license plate. License 9SFT337, and I'll show you the fake sun right over me while that sex offense is committed in real time. That's exactly what they did last night when I'm referring to impossible sensational activity under my feet inside of that hotel room, and with simultaneity to my referring to that method of demonic means of terrorism pursuant to a sex offense. The entity repeats that. You're going to apply the faces, the action, the conduct, the criminal activity, the terrorism, the psychological torture to the faces of the demons who are going to be prosecuted for it, including the face of the company Starbucks, okay? The entities engaged in that sexual violence with that third party who is targeting me, not a stranger, is doing so pursuant to what is a homosexual who was stalking me by being on another male that is gang stalking me with her, and those are the psychopaths that are engaged in that psychologically harmful pattern of conduct. But I'm breaking it down for you so you can see how pathetic it is, and you can see actually what they are and what they're doing. They're monitoring in violation of Title 18, and they're a bunch of demons who are psychopathic, which is relevant to the impossible light activity that they're stalking with. License 9PES 045 is also stalking, molesting my breast. That's a sex offender that's engaged in criminal monitoring with Starbucks, which is going to be prosecuted. This is the federal RICO case. They're engaged in sexual violence. They're engaged in federal stalking under Title 18. They're engaged in conspiracy to murder while they're operating a business and gang stalking with impunity and the intent to obstruct justice. Those are federal charges right there. Just want to be clear, while they're making money. All right. The demons are engaging in this based on what is knowledge of documentation, and they engage in that in real time. Starbucks is sharing in every sex offense committed by this entity. Starbucks is engaging in it itself, and they're doing so with the government, on behalf of the government, okay? The entities engaging in what is doing so on behalf of Tracy Banks and Jason Isaac-Phils are going to federal prison, while a population of demons at their based on their solicitation targeting me like this because they want to murder me and steal my property and also steal my reputation, my good character, my good name, okay? This is P.O.C. That's the entity that's, again, engaging in this in furtherance of committing murder. This is Starbucks' senseless engagement in targeting American citizens, sexually violating them in demonic ways, because they want to target them. Walking out, yeah, let me show you this impossible light activity. The entities engaging in what is stalking, I'll show you where the impossible light activity is appearing inside of Starbucks, which is impossible, while they're walking out. License DJ2267R. These are demons that are gang stalking together. Fake sun is over me. That's how you're aware of the fact, the truth that anybody else would claim, oh, well, impossible light is, well, they wouldn't use that term because I created it. But light is appearing out of nowhere. Light is relevant to surveillance. Light is appearing with regard to surveillance that's happening inside of a space, for example, Starbucks. This is what I documented inside of my hotel room, right where the fake sun remains stationary over my hotel room 326. But this is where this demon, license DJ2267R, I have a close-up of his face, and the demons, while they're pacing inside, an impossible light is appearing on set inside of this venue in an impossible manner, because sunlight doesn't come from the sun above and then ricochets off of doors that are in the shade in order to appear on the walls, where psychopaths are stalking inventory, acting in furtherance of murdering someone that they're gang stalking, and then covering it up as the name of a business such as Starbucks. That's where that's underway, and that's where that's going to be prosecuted. The entities engaging in this while they are monitoring the evidence that's being published online. And the more that you expose the demon possessed, the more maniacal the demons that they are that are hidden within them come out, and that is shown through the specific environment. They are always demons. They are always stalking. They're always psychopathic. The more that I speak the truth about what they're doing, the more that they become unhinged. That's what you're witnessing. This is the Ontario police stalking in helicopter for 20 minutes at the Ontario Town Square. This is the demon-possessed population engaging in their iteration of that same psychopathic conduct, that unhinged behavior through the impossible light activity, and doing so. And so what I'm referring to is the impossible light activity that you'll see inside of my hotel room. While I'm on the 3rd floor, and the entity has my shadow appearing and panels of light inside of my hotel room. That's what Starbucks has going on inside of here. Starbucks is gang stalking, including Arlene, okay, because that's what she was doing, threatening my life and safety and well-being while working as a third-party barista. All right, that's an oxymoron. That's a barista that's actually a third-party gang stalker who is engaging in what is the conspiracy to murder someone maliciously through a corrupt business such as Starbucks. All right, that's an intricate federal prosecution, but it is a very real one, okay? It's currently 2:44 p.m. Understand this is happening thousands of times over and over again while a population comes in and Starbucks is profiting, making millions of dollars off of criminal surveillance. All right, this is the P.O.C. The entities engaging in that license, EF68M06, that's a paper plate on a white Tesla, stalking with the possible light. And as in the same way that you've seen at the pattern of conduct, what you see Ocean and Amelia and Patty and all those demons gang stalking at Starbucks at 507 North Euclid Avenue, they provided a template. So you are already aware of the mental illness that the demons at this Starbucks suffer from, the same one, the criminal conduct that they're engaged in, the pattern of conduct, the same one, and the specific environment that they are surrounded by and documented in, the same one, and the entity that engages in a pattern of conduct of obstruction, such as stalking with more impossible light, like molesting my breasts as homosexual demons that are gang stalking me, license 5PDV284, a sex offender, gang stalking with Starbucks, and doing so, and making a purchase, and doing so, while impossible light shoots on me while they want to touch on my body, and then repeat it in real time while they're monitoring the evidence. Those are the demons that are going to be diagnosed and convicted. This is domestic terrorism. This is what an entity does to an innocent American citizen that doesn't know what's going on. This is supposed to have you have an emotional breakdown so then they can falsely depict you as mentally ill. They can keep you against your will, take your property, as you see Tracy Banks and the corrupt courts seeking to do with Jason Isaac Fields, and then also taking your life. These are all the ways in which all the harms inherent to gang stalking, which Starbucks takes very lightly, and I'm going to prosecute. And you're going to witness companies like Starbucks being made an example of, and you're understanding how much they are a threat to American life. They're a threat while they're sharing in this conduct with a bunch of delusional psychopaths, criminals, perverts, who want to appear as everyday citizens, people that you want to emulate in California. And no, you don't. They're all headed toward hell. They're hell-bound demons who are engaging in what is no longer a secret, and it's also what is relevant for what is a massive prosecution of the government. All right, it's 2:47 p.m. and these demons are obsessing over me. Remember, the entity's keeping the fake sun over me, as I documented at the 1841 East G Street outside of my hotel room, showing you the Ontario Police gang stalking by helicopter at the same time as the Ramada by WYNDHAM is adjacent to the 10 freeway, Economy Inn is adjacent to the 60 freeway, and the fake sun has the entity has the fake sun over me at both venues at the same time when you're looking at the entity that's stalking at 111 North Vineyard Avenue at 247 with the fake sun over my head. 9KSZ544 is a sex offender molesting my breasts with impossible light activity, doing so with homosexual women that are in here gang stalking with boys that don't even like them and aren't focused on them because they're gang stalking me together. That's how pathetic these demons are. That's how pathetic they are. This is the reality of what they're engaging in, and I'm going to prosecute and embarrass them based on the system that's supposed to bully another person that doesn't know any better. Not only is it not impervious to prosecution, I'm going to break down the reality and the logic behind the insanity that they practice targeting American citizens. It's currently 2:48 p.m. This is all state action, and this is putting Jason Fields and Tracy Banks in prison as well. This is All right, the entity, again, I just want to make sure that it's clear. The impunity, the ongoing investment and utilization of sexual violence. This is the entity that, if you're bothered by impulsive light activity touching your breast, let me do it again and again and again. Let me touch your crotch area with impulsive light activity. Let me go ahead and vibrate the chair that you're sitting in with sensational activity if that bothers you. And again, this is the entity that you're not psychologically torturing. I'm, first of all, giving you what is a breakdown of demonic behavior, or Satan seeks to try to torment you. Second of all, you're going to associate that with the people that are around you who are stalking you, and they're stalking you because they're trying to kill you, all right? The entity is doing this, which is state action, and the entity is doing so, license 9J U.S. 519 is sharing in that, sex offenders, and they're doing so, again, this is the entity that's doing so when it's being prosecuted. They're not engaging in conduct. I've already broken this down. This is the delusional entity that's stalked by helicopter, where you are not mistaken about the Ontario Police gang stalking at, again, Ramada by WYNDHAM, a third party going to be prosecuted as a corrupt innkeeper, a sex offender, keeping a fake sun over a hotel room of a woman, keeping her under surveillance, including her vagina. License 8YNF299. Sex offenders monitoring my breast while Impossible Light is moving about. And this is what they're resorting to because they're scared that I'm about to publish this podcast. What I want you to pay attention to is because this is the mental illness that is born of Jason Isaac Fields. This delusional psychopath is the same condition, the same criminal system. This is exactly what his demonic entity that he summoned on me. This is what is wrong with him. This is somebody that refers and uses violence. This is somebody that uses violence and relies on it as a means of trying to force women to do something that they have, or men, whoever he wants to rape, or whatever it is that he's trying to accomplish, steal from, whatever it is. This is the entity that uses gang stalking, uses this demonic system of targeting someone in order to do so. You need to understand that the mental illness that is evident in the P.O.C. is shared by Jason Isaac Fields. And so this is exposing to you, giving you an in-depth view of the sickness of Jason Isaac Fields and Tracy Banks. You can already readily identify that. When the entity is targeting her own daughter, this is what Tracy Banks represents. The entity is engaging in that. Hi.
Hey, Erica, my name's
Hi, how do you know my name?
Because it's on the cup.
Oh, good job. You're quick.
Yeah,
How can I help
just
you?
figured.
How can I help
I
you?
just wanted to check in. Is everything okay?
Why? What's going on?
Just some of the verbiage that we're hearing over the phone. I want to make sure you're okay.
I'm on a phone conversation, yeah.
Yeah, no, but I would also recommend if we could lower the volume a little bit, just so that way it's not intrusive to others.
What volume?
You know, like when I was standing over there organizing cups, like I could fully hear you on the phone. So I would just say if you could make it a little bit more private, that would be really, really great.
Sure, I don't have a problem. I guess speaking a little lower.
Yes, please.
Okay, it's just that I don't hear anybody else exercising any volume control. I'm hearing a lot of loud conversation.
No, definitely. But the reason why I bring it up is because
Maybe the content of what I'm speaking about?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And
It's a little disconcerting to you?
A little bit. I wanted to check to see
It's
if
a little
everything
scary,
was okay.
huh?
Yeah. I want
Okay.
to make sure if everything was okay.
That's what I am speaking about. The fact that what's your name, by the way?
I'm Jerry.
Jerry?
Yeah.
Are you a manager here?
I'm the store manager.
You're the store manager? So do you work with Ocean that was here?
She came to pick up product.
Oh, okay. Oh, I just wanted to make sure. Okay, I know she's at the 507 North Euclid Avenue, Starbucks. But, okay, thank you, no problem. I'll go ahead and lower my volume so that you're not uncomfortable with what it is that I'm discussing while I'm inside of the Starbucks.
Well, not necessarily just for me, but it's for everyone.
Yeah, okay, that's what I meant by that, but that's
Of course.
fine.
Thank you,
No
Erica.
problem.
I appreciate it.
No problem. This is the P.O.C. It's occurring in what is impossible light activity, and he is waddling back in skin-tight jeans, monitoring me and doing so with impossible light activity while he is both at the same time communicating a threat while gang stalking with the rest of the patrons that are inside of the venue. This is the entity that is engaging in terrorism and then asks you to lower your volume, which is nothing other than audible activity. Okay? The entity is engaging in what is, I want to be clear, not concerned with volume when they're stalking with amplified noise. When the entity is maintaining helicopter activity, when the entity has impossible light flying inside of the venue at the same time that they're referring to something that's supposed to be a basis of what is targeting. Oh, if I have to ask you again, then I'm going to have to ask you to leave, okay? I just want you to make sure that you listen to that admission. Ocean is gang stalking. And she comes into this venue, and that's what I wanted you to hear, while he is targeting me, and targeting me through, again, targeting me while I'm documenting his engagement in that P.O.C. and talking about my volume level. And the light activity is louder than everything that I'm talking about. The entity is stalking. You can hear this audible activity, but they're focusing on my conversation, all right? The entity is engaging in what is discomfort with the documentation regarding what they are engaging in. All right, the entity is engaging in this pattern of conduct as I document, for example, amplified audible activity inside of the library at the Open Family Community Library. The entity will have one of those demons at work there and ask me to keep the noise down when I'm sitting there talking. Somebody, some inexplicable third party that is engaged in listening to me document will engage in that same pattern, okay? This is the entity that is keeping impossible light while this manager, the store manager, is engaged in that pattern of conduct, and he is waddling in skin-tight jeans and impossible light that is swimming all about, threatening my life and safety, harassing me while gang stalking and asking me to hold down the volume. All right, this is happening under the fake sun with the City of Ontario and every gang stalking employee, and he's also targeting me with the kidnapper, Ocean, okay, who I am intentionally referring to while the entity is doing so in impossible light activity. This mental illness is shared by Jason Isaac Fields, just like I was stating. The entity is intentionally interfering because they don't want me to talk about that, and it's relevant to the malice. 6MYK431 is gang stalking with that store manager, where parking in the parking lot outside is not going to cause any sort of sunlight inside. But you've seen that where Ocean is gang stalking at 507 North Euclid Avenue, sharing in what is the outward demonstration of mental illness, which is shared by this demon, Jason Isaac Fields and Tracy Banks. Okay? That's what you need to understand. And that mental illness is literally obvious. While they're gang stalking your daughter, gang stalking someone that you're claiming to have some sort of romantic interest in while you're trying to kill them and steal from them and acting like you have a marriage to them. License 9JCZ280. Stalking through the drive-thru of Starbucks. The entity is engaged in this conduct and is doing so while you need to be mindful. The molestation of my breast with impossible light, and this demon comes and asks me to hold down my volume. The demons are stalking terrorism with impossible light activity while you're walking inside. The impossible light activity, which is terrorizing, that's louder than the voice. The impossible light activity is screaming domestic terrorism, while this demon, a malicious one, in jeans that are much too tight, while he's waddling in impossible light activity, asking me to hold my volume down while it is documentation of what is the a pattern of conduct, okay? This is the entity that engages in conduct as though it's going to be a slap on the wrist, taking what is the prosecution for gang stalking with a level of nonchalant demeanor with regard to gang stalking, with regard to monitoring by the government. This is what's relevant to that, okay? This is the entity that's engaging in terrorism, and then you're going to listen to the content of his speech. Oh, would you mind holding the volume down? Because we've had customers, all the customers are gang stalking, okay? The entity is doing so under the fake sun, which is not over not in a natural environment, going to be over 111 North Vineyard Avenue. So it is a method of targeting, and it's also relevant to what the entity would like me to stop speaking about. The fact of mental illness that you're witnessing exhibited while a psychopath, a gang stalker, asked me to hold the volume down as a method of not only monitoring, but also relevant with regard to some illusion that's a delusional person that is gang stalking a demon, asking the target individual to hold the volume down while they are targeting you. Okay, and it's about their criminal conduct, and with regard to what is criminal conduct that they have yet to be held accountable for in a federal court. The entity is engaged in that. I'm going to go ahead and show you the fake sun as well while this demon is engaging. Oh, would you mind holding the volume down while he's waddling in engineer light and is sharing in mental illness that is borne by a population, okay? This is the P.O.C. The fake sun is over the Starbucks at 111 North Vineyard Avenue. Demons are walking in and out and stalking and molesting me with impossible light, and then doing so and asking you to hold the volume down. I'm not screaming at the top of my lungs, and the entity, all of them are focused on me. They're focused on my vagina in the bathroom when I'm not making any noise whatsoever. That's a psychopath and a sex offender whose jeans are far too tight, while he is monitoring through pacing toward me, going back and forth, listening to everything that I stated, and then asking me to lower my volume while the entity is not removing the fake sun, stalking on behalf of the Ontario Police Department, gang stalking with a bunch of demons pacing in and out of this venue, and they're all uncomfortable. That's why you're witnessing the evidence in real time of what is stalking with impossible light. That's relevant to how uncomfortable they are. These demons get in a frenzy every time I document. It's relevant to the amplified audible activity. These demons are very uncomfortable, and you should be, and I'm going to prosecute for that. Understand the malice behind that. That's relevant to mental illness, and it is shared by the demon, Jason Isaac Field. Everything that I'm exposing, this is relevant to the threat that he poses as a gang stalker, abusing a government position and targeting me, maintaining a whole fake marriage on paper like I'm stating, stealing from me, defaming me, and then as though this demon is somebody that has any sort of effect, like you would even care. This is a psychopath. The psychopath that's gang stalking is nobody that is ever going to be permitted in your presence. And it is the mental illness that is exhibited through the entity that I'm documenting and exposing. This is what is wrong with Jason Isaac Fields. This is what is wrong with his sex partner, Tracy Banks. Okay, this is what, again, the demonic entity that share a mental illness, they share a criminal system, they share a targeting method, a formula, and they are exhibiting mental illness that Jason Isaac Fields suffers from, and he needs serious mental examinations relevant to the federal imprisonment that he is inevitably subject to. Okay, this is P.O.C. Where you have the entity that is targeting me at 111 North Vineyard Avenue at 3:01 p.m. The entity's keeping the fake sun. I just captured it over the top of my head. There's no sun that's going to be over 1841 East G Street at RAMADA by WYNDHAM, which I captured on video yesterday. There's no sun that's going to be over the Economy Inn at 201 South Euclid Avenue in Ontario, adjacent to the 60 freeway, where the sun is not remaining over the 60 freeway and the 10 freeway on one street in the city of Ontario. This is the entity that engages in that ridiculous conduct and tried to distract away from it by harassing me and asking me to lower my volume when I'm not yelling. And second of all, the entity is monitoring and doing so. This is, again, the absurdity of this criminal system. But nonetheless, it's as absurd, if not more absurd, than the skin-tight pants that this demon is wearing, waddling over me, monitoring me, and doing so. It's currently 3:02 p.m. This is P.O.C. Federal stalking is underway at Starbucks.
This is is where the entity is stalking with impossible light activity, and it's shooting in. All right, that's impossible light. Melissa's gang stalking. All right, impossible light activity is filling inside, and she's calling out Melissa's name pursuant to monitoring. The entity is aiming impossible light. The demons are pacing on Vineyard. This is just like Euclid Avenue, pacing on Euclid Avenue outside of 507 North Euclid Avenue, and the impossible light is moving inside. The entity is targeting my breasts and doing so while the gang stalking employee is speaking and referring to what is lowering the volume while they're gang stalking me. Okay, sharing in that sexual violence under the fake sun. This is a sex offender. License 71491G3. Sex offender. License plate 9JJY105. These are demons and predators engaging in sexual violence through their demonic targeting system. 6WEU 906. And let me show you the fake sun that's not over the RAMADA. Okay, like I documented at this time yesterday, and like I documented during this time of year at Economy Inn, where the entity is keeping the fake sun over me in Hesperia, California. This is where this demon that is gang stalking at Starbucks, that is targeting me with Ocean, who committed kidnapping as a means of harassment, who is molesting me with impossible light that's occurring inside, targeting my breasts and doing so. Okay, this is Starbucks that is a sex offender and talking about they're uncomfortable while I'm documenting their sexual violence and their mental illness with regard to the prosecution of the state. Okay, there's no vantage point where sunlight is going to appear inside and appear on any of this wall or on my breast. Okay, where sex offenders are uncomfortable with being exposed as sex offenders. That's relevant to their mental illness. This is P.O.C. It's 3:05 p.m. All right, in the video that I captured that you just listened to, when you look at it, pay attention to the extraordinarily bright light. This is occurring while demons are crossing path on Vineyard, driving what is north and south. It's impossible light activity. There's nothing that's going to cause that flashing of light, and you'll see it illuminating through the drive-through window. That's where my breasts are being targeted, and then you're going to listen to what you heard this demon gang stalking asking me to do while he's monitoring. That's a form of harassment, and it's also a failed effort of trying to sort of pivot some sort of. There is no pivoting. There's no deflection. There is no distraction. There is also no confusion about what the entity is doing and how the entity is engaging in it, and it's absolutely ridiculously obvious and absurd. And you're going to prosecute for the absurdity of gang stalking. The entities stalking with impossible lighting. You'll see the ongoing radiance of light through the drive-through window. That's not, first of all, the fake sun is over the venue, which I showed in that video, but also driving on the street, none of that flashing of light or any sort of radiance through the drive-through. That is literally what you're looking at, the stalking with impossible light, okay? The entity is doing so while they're targeting specifically the sexual organs on my body and doing so. And then you have this psychopath with these skin-tight jeans on waddling toward me, asking me to keep the volume down while I'm referring to his mental illness and his sexual obsession with me, living as a homosexual man clearly, but obsessed with my vagina and my genitalia, my body, my anatomy, while monitoring me and molesting my body in doing so. That's the entity that is targeting. Remember, it's not sunlight. So you're going out of your way to engage in that method of touching someone and harassing them while you know what it is that I'm doing as well. 71491G3. And they're doing so under the fake sun. So you're understanding the malice and the mental illness that Jason Isaac Fields shares while this demon is engaging in that method of targeting me and harassment under a fake sun while I'm being accosted at the same time, while he's politely asking me if I would keep the volume down, okay? Gang stalking with Melissa is the entity. They're doing that with every single patron coming in, okay? The timing of coming to get their drink, calling their names, coming in and ordering, getting in line, it's all demonic synchronicity. This is demonic activity. And it's not relevant to intelligence, it's relevant to the spirit of Satan, and that's how they have that precision with regard to my movements, but clearly they're not intelligent, okay? The entity is engaging in this, and you're gonna pay attention to the video as you look at it. You'll see radiant light, bright light, piercing through what is appears to be the drive-through window area. That's not sunlight. All right, and that's also not normally happening under any circumstances, and that traffic is at a distance away on Vineyard Avenue, and that's where the entity is also, like I narrated in real time, targeting my breast and then engaging and repeating it again in real time as I document it. That's exactly what the entity was doing inside of my hotel room. Just to give you another example, sensational activity, and then sensational activity again as I documented via podcast, and then the entity sought to obstruct justice, wanting to keep its sexual violence and targeting inside of a hotel room a secret by then blocking access to the internet. That mental illness is what Jason Isaac Fields suffers from. He's a predator. He's a serial killer. This is an entity full of pedophiles who are gang stalking.
and you are understanding and recognizing the threat that Jason Isaac Fields poses, him and his sex partner Tracy Banks conspiring the death of her own daughter, who she is also sexually obsessed with. And she's engaging in what is gang stalking me in the same way that the demons here at Starbucks are, in a population that knows exactly who I am and where I'm at and what I'm saying as I say it. Okay, it's currently 3:13 p.m. This is P.O.C. That's Malice. 101 Malice.
This is impossible light activity on my cup, just so you can see how detailed, how psychotic these demons are that come in buying drinks to get in relevant positions. This is shade outside. This is a stalker. That's a demon. They also monitor my vagina. This is a demon keeping his back toward me. Let me show you the light that's on the wall over here. That's not sunlight either. It's impossible light activity. They're aiming it on the objects. Demons are walking in, impossible light fanning through bugs, while psychopaths who are demons are gang stalked. The light back here, that's not sunlight. Light is present, surveillance. And the entity is engaging in the purchase of drinks. So light activity, again, vacillate while demons walk in and out. That's P.O.C. That license is 9S. Hold on, let me try. That is 93835J3. All right, while demons are gang stalking. Gang stalking immigrants are going to be deported. All right, the entity's engaging in terrorism. This is shade. There's no light that's going to be touching my cup, that's going to be flying through the wall, and everybody that's in the path, these are psychopaths who are also sex offenders engaging in homosexual conduct, and this is the impunity that terrorism is happening in the U.S., okay? The entity is engaging in the P.O.C. There's nothing that you're doing with your camera other than gang stalking, engaging in federal stalking. This is a psychopath that's just gang stalking in front of the federal government with impunity as a population, though, okay? P.O.C. That's how obsessively they are monitoring. And you're recalling what is terrorism while the manager is engaged in documented harassment, okay? This is a pattern of conduct. It's 6:03 p.m. While you're seeing that fake sun, the entity's keeping the fake sun over me where the Ontario police are gang stalking. If you recall what I documented, when they engage in flying in circles over that hotel for over 10 minutes. I'm capturing that video while this gang stalker is engaging in what is impunity while she's stalking in the path as though she's focused on taking selfies. This is a homosexual engaging in what is stalking another woman, monitoring her vagina, and engaging in the P.O.C. clearly engaging in engineer light under the fake sun. It's still here as I arrived here during the 12 p.m. hour, and the fake sun is still here at 6 p.m. This is nothing other than gang stalking, and it's the malice and the delusional conduct of demons. They don't have a race, okay? They also don't have any regard for what is federal law, and that's the federal government that's going to enforce the federal prosecution of gang stalking. It's currently 6:04 p.m. This is Starbucks that's engaging in that pattern of conduct, okay? They're coming in and making purchase. That's a federal RICO case. It's impossible. All right, you're looking at it. The vacillation. This is an environment that's for what is terrorism, and the demons are pacing in and out. They are stalking through the means of a business, and they were molesting my breasts with that impossible light activity, and they're stalking you specifically, knowledge of who you are while the fake sun is there, okay? And doing so in the face of documentation. This is the federal government. I'm speaking as the federal government, and you're looking at the disregard for federal law. When this is committed in furtherance of murder, that disregard and impunity is going to be assigned to the prosecution of that government, and people like Jason Isaac Fields and Tracy Banks are going to federal prison. All right, this is what an entity summons on people in order to have them murdered and kidnapped, and they are absolutely psychopathic. This is 111 North Vineyard Avenue. This is P.O.C.
9GCZ824. Again, that's 9GCZ824. 9LBL584. These are demons that are willing to get federal cases just to keep me under surveillance. License 6RJY808. This is speaking to obsession by those that are not normal people. This is demon possession, and it's exposing public corruption. And it was occurring today at one location under the fake sun. Under, again, the pattern by a company that's representing the people who are gang stalking as third parties, not private citizens at any private property, pursuant to a government's pattern of conduct. License. This coward drives by with no license plate while the entity flies over the Motel 6 at 231 North Vineyard Avenue. That's P.O.C. This is the same Motel 6 where the Ontario police are gang stalking by helicopter on August 17, 2021. And for your viewing convenience, those of you that are witnessing the prosecution on the internet, and then it's going to occur in a court, and it's going to change the landscape in this country, the entity is seen gang stalking at Motel 6 in the same way that the Ontario International Airport is with 7 UFV 028. Every airline is engaged in the federal RICO case. They're going to be prosecuted, conspiring by murder, gang stalking using commercial planes, and Alan D. Wapner is being removed from office for it. 6KWC 249, 6VBY 556. These are sex offenders that are keeping my vagina under surveillance. 17095L2. These are pedophiles that have sex with children. These are the demon possessed, and this is the sexual conduct that they engage in, and they are gang stalking me. 5DLB 178, 5BSV 217, WH6TA, a gang stalking veteran with an Arizona plate, is engaging in a satanic targeting system that is un-American and equally exposed to a federal prosecution. All right, the demon possessed are very much in the military. You're looking at the gang stalkers of the Ontario Police Department. They want to be in law enforcement to engage in this surveillance system, to engage in taking out their aggression, their violent tactics out on innocent American citizens, by the way. So many of them are in military, so that's no exception in speaking to what is the secret system underway in the United States. License 8JRP662. The Ontario International Airport did not fly over my head in hovering over Motel 6. So while I'm walking on the sidewalk, this is a demon. Again, they did the same thing earlier, hovering down while at the Bombay Cuisine, that plaza. There's no plane that flew over my head while they're hunkered down what would be west of me. Where did they come from? The airport is south of my location. The entity is hovering. I'm laughing because it's idiotic. These are demons who are obsessed with me. This is Satan that's using a whole bunch of people. They're all stalking me together. And they are in government, and they're using the airport, they're using the police department, they're using businesses, which is what Starbucks was documented engaging in. Another Starbucks. Another full day of fake sun, stalking with impossible light. Look at the spectacular evidence. I put it on X so that the world can see it as well. License CPZ488Z. That's a Washington plate. And 8NSB674. They're stalking me as I go back to my hotel, where a population of demons, which is representing the government, that's a sex offender. A government's engaging in criminal surveillance, and it is a sex offender. And they're doing so because they are very much interested in my private activity, what it is that I do, what I think about, what it is that I'm watching on television, if at all, what it is that I'm viewing, consuming online, what it is that I eat, how many times do I chew it before I swallow, do I chew with my mouth open or do I chew with my mouth closed, do I sleep, do I fall asleep with my mouth? This is how obsessed the demon possessed are, and they are obsessed with my vagina. Women of this condition, demon possessed, gang stalking women, are homosexuals. They're gay, stalking me in the middle of the night, stalking me by checking out hotel rooms to keep me under surveillance, monitoring, molesting with impossible light, and obsessed with my vagina. This is what you need to understand. All of these illusions with regard to this society. 9DZA929. This is P.O.C. This is the pattern of conduct of the demon possessed, and all of their illusions are being shattered while gang stalking women who are obsessed with me and are sitting around kissing their boyfriends while they're both gang stalking me together. Those demons are monitoring. That's okay. So you're looking at what is entirely pathetic. And so many of them, I catch them lurking in the middle of the night, stalking me in the middle of the night, obsessed with me, doing, well, again, witchcraft that ain't going to work because you're not going to replace me. You're nothing like me. You're never going to be me. I'm going to prosecute you, though, and I'm also going to embarrass you. Okay? How many of them are walking around with raggedy, thrifty wigs and weaves, 894, instead of paying attention to what it is that you look like? You're not being targeted by the state, so why are you looking like a crusty mite while you're stalking me? Why not take care of yourself and be concerned with your own household? Whether they're monitoring somebody that's going to put it on the internet, and I will embarrass you. It's a part of prosecuting and exposing you. This is the entity that doesn't take care of itself and is obsessing over another woman's vagina. They are homosexuals. The demon-possessed gang stalking females. 8KBC 430. License plate. 8JEL676. They spend thousands of dollars on a fake pair of hips, fake pair of breasts, fake pair of buttocks. All right, and again, while you're in this level of disrepair, mentally, emotionally, and you're stalking another woman, why? What is wrong with you? Besides the obvious, having to buy your body parts and mutilating your body, why are you stalking another woman who you are never going to be? And no witchcraft is ever going to help you appear that. And your gang stalking boyfriend isn't even consumed. You're both sitting there stalking me. This is how pathetic the demon possessed are. This is breaking down what Satan has people doing, and they're out of their right minds. That's why they're being humiliated on the internet. License 9PDG895, 7LMS109. This is pathetic. Okay, they're out here buying body parts, putting body parts on themselves. You need to get your dog. Is this your dog? Oh, okay. The entity is engaging in what is gang stalking, buying body parts, and these women that go and buy their body parts are stalking me. Fake lips, fake hair, fake everything all over them, and you are stalking me. Why? I don't care about your plastic body parts. This is an entity that's engaged in that, and that's gay. Okay, you're obsessed with my vagina. That's homosexual. But yet you're buying your body parts. I'm assuming you want to appeal to the male race, who are gang stalking me as well, but they're not paying attention to you while you're gang stalking me and they're gang stalking me as well. This is the entity I'm pointing out to you the ridiculousness and the open, obvious level of mental illness. Okay? These are the demons that are gang stalking me. They don't take care of themselves. Why is it that you are looking disheveled and you called yourself getting up, getting dressed to come gang stalk me? You don't have anything else to do? This is what's pathetic about the demons. This is what you're looking at when a police department is using helicopters to follow me around. A whole police department using the resources of a police department to follow me around. You don't have anything else more important to do. It's the same analysis, not only from these crusty dusties that are gang stalking everywhere that I'm going, even when they call themselves being impressive, which you are not. You got in the shower, you got dressed, you pressed your hair to come stalk me, and I will still embarrass you. Because somebody that's engaging in this, no, you are not whatever it is that you want the world to think that you are. Clearly you're not, because you're out here in the streets gang stalking. You're delusional. You don't even like yourself. And clearly you don't like the body parts and what it is that you bought and put on yourself. Okay? The entity, if you don't want to be a homosexual, then stop stalking a woman and stop monitoring her vagina. All right? It is currently 8MFB047. These gang stalking men are with homosexual women. They're together, they're in relationships with gay women while they're obsessively stalking me, and these gang stalkers of the male race are engaging in targeting me with their gay women, their gay counterparts. They're sitting in the middle of it. How many of them I documented and I expose them in real time? Does your husband know that you're homosexual? Does your boyfriend know that you're gay? Because you're sitting up stalking me and monitoring my vagina? You're waiting for a moment to touch all over my body with impossible light? Like a predator? The mind state of a predator? Okay, lurking in the dark? Okay, waiting till, what is it that you want to have your way with me? What type of homosexual conduct is this that is inspired by the government? The government that's practicing Satanism, by the way. They also have sex with children. They are specifically targeting children. And they're doing so pursuant to what is the pattern of conduct, which is inherently sexually violent. It's also psychopathic. Look at that light activity flying inside of Starbucks today. That light activity is letting you know it's a direct indicator regarding, again, the entity that is out of its rabbit mind. They are psychopaths. The more that I document, the more crazier that light activity got. And they're supposed to be concealing it. It's supposed to be contained. All right, they're supposed to be the ones making the target individual look crazy. No, their crazy comes out. The more and more that I show you, you already know that they're crazy because the fake sun is here. So you are already aware of the setting. Everybody's on a poorly lit stage. Everyone can see them. And the more that I document, the more psychotic they become. This is P.O.C. and you're going to prosecute for that. I'm going to prosecute. That's another Starbucks venue engaging the P.O.C. And guess who arrived? The one who knows she's going to federal prison, Ocean. Okay? That's what that demon admitted to. I don't tell any lies. Okay, she's there in the specific environment because she knows that she's accumulating federal time. I don't have to be inside of Starbucks, but for you to engage in kidnapping while you're gang stalking me, you just accumulated time in federal prison. You're going to prison. You're going to federal prison. I don't care how, it's not about how long the target individual sits in a facility. And remember, it's because I'm documenting, even though they're still audacious to engage in kidnapping at all, but it's not about the fact that whether I'm there kidnapped for a day. The entity engages in what is kidnapping and is engaging in, I have an animal following me. You have an entity that engages in kidnapping, and it rapidly escalates from what is, again, making up a charge to what is being placed in a mental asylum. Rapidly, just like that. So it's not going to be about what's happening while I am exposing simultaneously public corruption and an entity that is gang stalking. Sorry, there's an animal following me. The entity, and I'm not trying to say this is literally this animal's like just trailing where I'm walking. I just want to make sure he doesn't bite me. So the entity is engaging in this pattern of conduct, and you are recognizing the ability for I'm giving you the template. I'm showing you how it operates. You're talking about all manner of what is a threat to American citizens' liberty. Not the fact that the entity knows it is being exposed and still engaged in that kidnapping. And it doesn't matter if it's a 30-second unlawful detention, kidnapping. That's 30 seconds that you have a right to not be subject to. They don't have a right to kidnap you for any amount of time, under any circumstances, at all. And by the way, they're doing it while they are aware of the fact that they're being documented. And they're no longer confident that they're going to get away with stealing my intellectual property, which is the impunity that I documented in 2018, 19, 20, 21, and 22. All right, and these demons were sure. All right, these cult leaders, Tracy Banks and Jason Fields, certain that they were going to get away with stealing my evidence and nobody's going to get caught. So it doesn't matter how many videos I have of the Ontario police stalking me everywhere in helicopters. It doesn't matter how egregious the criminal conduct is. It doesn't matter how crazy the people of the state act when I'm capturing it on video, because nobody's ever going to see it in the first place. That's what they planned. That's why you're going to federal prison. That's the evidence of the conspiracy to murder as well. Understand that. This is the entity that's intended to steal this very intellectual property, which is also evidence of stalking by the government. That's another homosexual that's monitoring. All right, the entity's engaging in, and I mean homosexual. I'm a female, not a homosexual male, a homosexual female who is stalking me. Okay, it is currently 7:29 p.m. So 1 second. All right, so what I'm referring to is the July 4th. That's the latest kidnapping by Starbucks. And this is what Ocean committed in concert with the Ontario Police Department and everybody that was monitoring shares in kidnapping. Understand how this fact pattern works. License plate, sex offender, 8LDZ048. That looks like an overweight Latino male, 9SDB312. The entity is gang stalking on the same street where it was this morning. The fake sun over me at 10 o'clock. The entity on the same street, Vineyard Avenue. Look at a map and look how long I'm walking right now from Starbucks to back to the hotel. It's not even 10 minutes. The fake sunset over Starbucks, and then engage in what is remaining in the parking lot by slowly migrating. And that's as I walked in and out of the door, because you'll see me taking pictures as I'm at the entrance door and walking to the parking lot. That fake sun moves as I move to be in alignment with me in the parking lot. That's what the people of the state are doing. Stalking in the path, AVAX 924. That's the purpose of demons that are gang stalking. Stalking in the past, stalking in a dark parking lot with light activity. That's what the Ontario police are doing when they're molesting me from across the street at the Ontario downtown airport, on the Ontario downtown luxury apartments. Stalking in the path. That's what the entity is doing with a fake sun. The environment is showing you, telling you what the people of the state are doing. They're demons and they're stalking as an entity. Presence in the path. You can be a mile away from me, standing in alignment to me. That's how they're stalking. License. These cowards crack me up covering up their license plate. KFC is gang stalking while a demon is in their parking lot, and KFC is sharing in that while that demon drives off with no license plate. KFC is located at 1851 East G Street, where the fake sun is remaining adjacent. They are stalking in the path as a corrupt business. All the employees are gang stalking, the patrons are gang stalking, and they're doing so with knowledge that they're being documented. That's why I'm encountering so many cowards with no license plate. And this is an entity that is again engaging in what is the pattern of conduct, which is all evidence at this level of showing you that they are in fact engaging in surveillance, and their knowledge that they're being documented is evidence of surveillance. Okay, just want to point that out to you. But this is P.O.C. and let me get to these license plates. It's 7:32 p.m. 9TXK920 9SLS799. You're looking at the video that's on X. You're looking at this delusional psychopath. This is another homosexual female. And she is literally outside of the window where you're in. Pay attention to the video because she wasn't standing there before. When the demon's inside of Starbucks, Usher, I capture that light vacillating, moving all across that wall. And then those demons engage in what is moving out, walking out of the door is what that is. They're monitoring and doing so by purchasing drinks, the timing that they go get their drinks. They're pacing back and forth. Pay attention to what's outside of the front door, because that demon, that female, is not outside of the driveway yet. She gets to the driveway because she's blocking my path. She's stalking. And this demon is stalking in the environment where you're looking at the fake sun. You're looking at her, concentrating her vision on her phone as though she's focused on taking her selfies or whatever it is that she is engaging in. You're looking at the evidence of mental illness. That's a severely delusional and a sexually perverted psychopath. All right, she's engaged in what is monitoring. All of the hallmarks are present, except for the one hallmark, but you already know that the Ontario police are gang stalking ceaselessly. All they had to do was add helicopter and sirens. That's it. All of the hallmarks, the impossible light shooting into the depths of the Starbucks. It doesn't get any more demonic. And then you're looking at who is around. These are the demons like, oh, I didn't see it. It didn't happen then. That's how they also engage in criminal conduct and making up criminal activity as well. If I said it happened, then it happened. Whether it actually happened or not. If I didn't see it, then I say it didn't happen, and I'm going to act like it didn't happen. You're going to prosecute them with the evidence of mental illness. You're going to diagnose and convict. That's the very delusion that I'm talking about. That's a psychopath that's gang stalking. She is obsessively getting in the path. Pay attention to how the two males walk out. That's leaving the path open. She is stalking in the path while she stands right there, where that fake sun is what you'll see right over in alignment with me as I exit, and you're looking at shade outside of the front door. None of that light activity is ever going to occur. It's not going to shoot through the window that she's focusing on while she's supposedly taking selfies. Nothing admirable to even be capturing. I'm just going to be honest with you. This is somebody that is stalking, and this is a sex offender, a homosexual female who is obsessed with me. And her obsession is shown through her delusional effort at failing, trying to appear she's doing anything else. These are sickos, literally. License 9SGN751. Pay attention to that video. It's on, it is published to the website and to my YouTube channel. It's published to the Post because I did a specialized post for it, and it's also published to Twitter, X, okay? 8XEM915, 9NYE125, 9PTD248, 7WYA726, 7XQA433, 4NPR122, 9GKF 633, 7AST403, 9TZG 755, 7CTW 050, 8PQP 898. Stalking in the path as I arrived, just like this morning. The homosexual elders, those two biddies gang stalking. That's what these demons are doing. License 9PZJ 554. While the entity is stalking by the Ontario International Airport. And let me show you that. There's no takeoff right here at all. So they're behind EVERHOME Suites, flying in alignment. Remember, the airport is west of this location. So you're in the middle of where I'm located. The timing that I get into this driveway is the timing that this demon in that vehicle, the license plate I just read, and that's the timing that the entity is using a commercial plane at the same time. All right, these are the demons that kept a fake sun over. And by these demons, I mean this is an entity of demons that engaged in stalking at one building, identified by a fake sun, and engaging in that with regard to obsessively stalking me. Now, you need to understand that same demonic synchronicity, that same detail, that same knowledge about where I'm at and what I'm doing and the moment that I arrive, that's the same knowledge that they have as sex offenders regarding my vagina. Those that are married couples monitoring my vagina. Those that want you to see them kissing and engineer light under a fake sun with the gang stalking police, monitoring my vagina together as well, okay? As sexually deviant psychopaths who are engaging in a criminal pattern of conduct. This is an entity that's engaging in that with the government, and this is why the Ontario Police is being disbanded. And this is RAMADA by WYNDHAM. And it's currently 7:36 p.m. That's the criminal conduct that Alan D. Wapner is not publishing on the website. There are no arrivals and departures coming from or behind what is EVERHOME Suites in the middle of the building at the same time that I'm documenting the people of the state that are stalking in the path with the method of light. That's the entity that is gang stalking together, okay? And they're also a sex offense. It's also a sex offense while they're obsessing over my vagina, which is what the mentally ill are engaged in while they're engaged in targeting an American citizen. And this is something that Tracy Banks, a sex offender, a pedophile, very much engaged in this pattern of conduct with the pedophiles who I'm documenting. Tracy Banks is a pedophile as well, and so is Jason Isaac Fields. This entity's engaged in this P.O.C, and it's sexually violent. It's also mentally demented, and it is that which corrupt businesses like RAMADA by WYNDHAM and Starbucks are sharing in. Not even a mile apart, the fake sun remaining until sunset, okay? This is P.O.C. It's 7:37 p.m. Hi, Peter. I have a reservation.
Okay.
Another plane at 7:37 a.m. while he is in the office monitoring. An impossible light is inside of the office. This relevant to the deportation policy. POC. It's 7:38 p.m. Have you guys repaired your Wi-Fi?
Yes.
You did? Yeah. What happened with it?
So today is different password.
2 days different password?
Today's different password.
Oh yeah, you didn't tell me that.
Every week change the password automatically.
Oh yeah, you didn't tell me that. So when did the password change?
Every Sunday they change it.
Oh okay. So do I get a new password then?
Today's Monday. Yes, we do have it.
Okay.
Signature edition.
Uh-oh, there's a bug.
Thank
This,
you.
this is my family member also.
You want me to sign here? Let's see. Because it was working on one phone and then it stopped working on the other phone. But okay, you're stating that they changed the password. So that would have been what day did they change the password? Every Sunday, you said?
Every Sunday.
Oh, okay. All right.
Every week we keep the same password, but every Sunday.
So it's not going to change again then?
So you
Till next Sunday, I mean.
next Sunday.
Okay. Meaning, so while I'm here until tomorrow, it's not going to change, right? Okay, got it.
It is the same password.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you.
325? Oh, thank you. I was going to ask you for a top floor. Thank you.
All right.
I appreciate
I
it.
know you last time you were saying top floor again.
Yeah.
Same banner, yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Anything else I need? You got my ID and you have my card already. I paid. Nothing else. Fine. Okay.
Ready to go.
Okay. Yeah. Looks like the Wi-Fi is working now. Yeah, it's working. Okay. I just needed to make sure. Thank you very much, Peter. I appreciate your help, sir. You have a good one. All right, the same pattern of conduct that you witnessed this morning under the fake sun. All right, stalking in the path while I'm inside of the office. This is what the demons were doing. The old ladies that were loading and unloading, they were stalking with light activity, stalking in the path, engaging in surveillance as a population, doing so under the fake sun, which is the pattern of stalking with light, including at nightfall, 9ARV259. The entity aiming impossible light activity inside of the office where Peter is monitoring as an employee. This is relevant to what is malice. This malice is evidence of the outward demonstration of mental illness, which the demon-possessed seek to conceal from you. They don't want you to know that they are literally psychopaths. They are very much delusional. This entity uses a lot of witchcraft, magic. They operate in illusions. They engage in what is the use of witchcraft in order to gain fame, accumulate wealth, in order to kill other people, in order to accomplish some sort of gain in other people's lives. The entity is mentally deranged. They can't operate with reality. And they are also engaging in the reliance upon the illusion of the specific environment, and I'm using that to prosecute you, to show you how they are psychopaths, engaging in what is a whole fantastical environment where they're engaging in surveillance. And they're engaging in surveillance of a person very specific, not a stranger, okay? And the fake sun is the evidence of that. The entity that's gang stalking, concert, I'm dropping things, hold on one second. All right, these demons that are gang stalking in the Range Rover, I'm gonna go ahead and capture these images of these sex offenders. License 9ARV259 is gang stalking with the predators that are stalking by meeting as I arrive at the office. Meeting is evidence of stalking, okay? This is what they're doing under the fake sun as well. These are demons that are engaged in that P.O.C. together. Gang stalking immigrants are subject to what is deportation. You're going to look at their perpendicular shadows. He's got 3, 4 of them. They're changing while they're walking in the parking lot. They're engaging in light activity creation also at nightfall when the fake sun is over this parking lot, like I documented. License 9PZJ554 is gang stalking with Alan D. Wapner. 9ARV259 is gang stalking, arriving at the venue. She's keeping me under surveillance, stalking in the path, and is doing so pursuant to what Peter is doing. Peter is monitoring with a demon that maintains that activity creation as a corrupt business and as a third party. And gang stalking immigrants are subject to deportation. So if you're not a natural born citizen, if you've been granted a visa, you've been granted some form of naturalization, you're being deported, okay? And this entity is engaging in what is impunity. As I document them stalking with the police, as I document them stalking with impossible light activity, just like Starbucks exhibits, they engage in more and more of it. That's relevant to the mental illness. Psychopaths, they increase and accelerate in violence. They don't decrease it. That's relevant to the terrorists that engage in murder by commercial planes, murder by engage in what is mass shootings. Demons, if you are more capable of understanding and readily identifying a threat because someone has a physical weapon, the entity is engaging in what is weaponization of technology, keeping a person under surveillance, psychologically torturing them. In many ways, if not equal, more volatile, more destructive, more harmful than the quick, and this is unfortunate to say, but this is the reality, than the quick demise of what is a gunshot to the head. The entity is engaging in what is a calculated and methodical death psychologically while they're gang stalking you until they are able to take your life, and under which circumstances they then blame you for what happened to you, while a population of psychopaths who are stalking with light, stalking with noise, monitoring your every movement, and while I'm exposing, they're monitoring me while I'm documenting. So they're monitoring evidence that's going to be used against them, and it's also relevant for diagnosing their mental illness, proving it while they're engaging in their criminal pattern of conduct, which is all state action.
Okay, this is the entity that's engaged in that. If you are, and that's unfortunate, if you're not able to recognize the threat inherent to gang stalking. This is happening while my mother planned my murder. This is happening while my mother's sex partners, including Jason Isaac Fields, were planning my murder. This is happening while fake family friends were lying about my character unbeknownst to me in court hearings that I knew nothing about property that I knew nothing about. And this is why they were planning my murder, because they wanted to steal property and money that belongs to me. They had already stolen it. They've already stolen from me, and they've been gang stalking me the entire time while I'm documenting a government and a population of delusional psychopaths and sex offenders, male and female, obsessed with me while they're of this same condition, gang stalking in furtherance of my fake family and fake friends' conspiracy to commit murder through the government that gang stalks, because criminal surveillance is underway, and none of this is unsupported. Every aspect of what I just described is supported with evidence. And the entity is engaging in this, and it is nothing that is harmless whatsoever. So while Starbucks is engaging in impunity, just having impossible, like just flying through that venue, understand that they're acting and complicit to conspiracy to murder. And that's a corporate actor. And it is a pattern of conduct that's impossible for me or any person to manufacture. I could not make up the evidence that Starbucks gave to me. And then moreover, I have multiple Starbucks companies engaging in the same pattern of conduct. Okay, you're going to prosecute for what is public corruption. Surveillance is underway. That's why I'm able to go to Starbucks and find the evidence of being kept under surveillance, being gang stalked. And this is, again, the conspiracy to murder me is a system that the government is employing with regard to targeting American citizens. And that's why it is not harmless. You see the gang stalking employee monitoring this morning under the fake sun at 10, and he's pushing the cart and doing so. He's stalking in the path, audible and light activities underway. That's not harmless whatsoever. It's monitoring, and you're looking at the face of the demon while they do that. They're doing that to me while I'm naked in the shower, monitoring, creating an earthquake in the bathroom, creating an earthquake wherever I'm sitting in the hotel room. That's impossible sensational activity. You're targeting these demons, these psychopaths, these sex offenders are doing it on camera. Okay, and they're doing it because they're not going to stop monitoring, and that's also speaking to the ongoing obsession, the delusional, maniacal psychopaths who are stalking in helicopters, stalking as a whole government project, stalking as a population, stalking as a business practice. That's the entity that is threatening the life of an American citizen, okay? It is currently 7:50 p.m. The Ontario International Airport now maintaining maintaining aerial surveillance by flying west, hovering over what is the EVERHOME suites, flying where the Sheraton, they're not even, they're literally taking off from what is where that's called EVERHOME suites, where that building is present, which is in alignment with where my room is. They put me in the same location. The entity engaged in stopping internet access last night. So I want to make sure that that's clear. But the entity is engaged in this pattern of conduct, and the plane activity is relevant to where I'm located. And you see the same thing, the evidence of where's the fake sun at? Because that's showing you who's being stalked right now. That's me. And this is the entity that engages in that. So now you have flight from the airport. That is, again, understand where the entity is stalking from the Ontario International Airport. If you're taking off from the airport, remember, I am closer to, and by closer I mean, I am more east where the airport is located. So where are you flying from? Did you fly from the airport and then you made a U-turn, so then you will fly west again while you're going past the airport? This is the entity, again, like I said, not rocket scientist, not bright, not smart, just obsessed. Just only obsessed, and also surrounded with evidence. License 83NRH-7. That looks like another Baja. That looks like a Baja license plate. 483NRH-7, and that's on a white Ford. It's like a pseudo SUV, old, white, dusty, monitoring nonetheless. Anyway, it's currently 7:52 p.m. This is the short walk around the corner to Starbucks 111 North Vineyard Avenue, where the fake sun never even reached Holt Boulevard, never reached Euclid Avenue, where the entity engages in rising and setting it. While I stay at, for example, the Tabor Professional Building to the Starbucks at 507 North Euclid Avenue, as I documented, from the Tabor Professional Building to the Ovid Family Community Library on Euclid Avenue, which I documented, from the 415 North Euclid Avenue to what is the Ovid Family Community Library. Literally, that's the same location. And the entity keeps the fake sun. All right, this is not even on Euclid Avenue at all. So keeping it over here at Vineyard, at the Starbucks at Vineyard. 111 North Vineyard Avenue is a shopping plaza. Not just Starbucks is there. San Bernardino County Child Support Services, the government that's gang stalking, full of pedophiles that are engaged in this criminal conduct while also engaged in what is child protective services. They are a threat to children. So I just want to, in San Bernardino County is a very heavily documented gang stalker, obsessively consumed with the delusion of trying to criminally defame me. You will never have any evidence that's going to defame me. It will always be evidence of you monitoring. It will always be evidence of you defaming me, and there never being any actual legitimate relationship. And the relationship is always the stalker kidnapping, the stalker lying on my character, the stalker making up a relationship that does not exist, professional or otherwise. Okay, the entities in San Bernardino County, the government in particular. Remember, San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department is San Bernardino County gang stalking. Inside of that facility as well, where you saw the fake sun, that's San Bernardino County, that's gang stalking. And they also maintain child protective services. This is speaking to the threat that the government is to children. Okay, it's 7:54 p.m. and this is 1841 East G Street, where the entity's been gang stalking on less than a mile away at the Vineyard, which is around the corner. This is G Street. So G Street runs east and west, and Vineyard Avenue, which intersects with G Street. I documented this as I walked this morning. I went to by Wendy's. Wendy's is at the corner. I walked down a few feet to the Starbucks, which is at which is at Holt Boulevard, and I've been at Euclid for too long, which is at Holt Boulevard and Vineyard Avenue. Okay, this is steps away from, I didn't go anywhere, in other words, and neither did the fake sun. Okay? Neither did that pattern of conduct go anywhere. That's where, again, the stalker is using planes flying over from where the EVERHOME Suites is, from behind that building. It's in alignment with where the airport, well, it's not perfectly in alignment, but the airport is east of where the entity is hovering throughout the city. This is what I was stating. They're hovering throughout the city to fly over 4 miles to be then flying over 506 North Euclid Avenue over the Chevron, like they're taking off from Lemon Avenue, behind the San Bernardino County Housing Authority, hovering over the 280 North Lemon Apartments, where Paul Leon's City Hall, the City Hall is located at 303 East B Street. So now you're hovering, so then are you lowering back down to be hovering over the 280 North Lemon Apartments? Like, how are you, there is no reconciling that. It is absurdly idiotic. It is as idiotic as a fake sun over a building, which I documented again today. Okay? This is the entity that's engaged in that very obvious criminal system. And regardless of how stupid it is very serious. This stupid system is how an entity psychologically murders American citizens, sexually violates them, and also murders them, and then treats that targeted individual as though they are some criminal or insane person who brought it on themselves. Or it's some unsolved mystery. It's the act of the government that plays cops and robbers, by the way, with the demon possessed. Okay, it's currently 7:56 p.m. It is August 25th, 2025. I spoke to Peter about federal stalking. Okay, Peter is a liar, and Peter's not going to address the fact that he's gang stalking me while I ask him that question. The entity engages in what is adapting the narrative as they go. One of my cell phones remained logged onto the Wi-Fi network, and I documented that. The entity engaged in logging off my phone and then blocking it as I documented criminal summoning in the afternoon yesterday. My other phone, that's how I documented it and uploaded to the Google Drive, remained logged on to the same Wi-Fi with no changed password. But again, you're not dealing with those who are intellectually adept to what it is that they're encountering when they're documenting, when I'm documenting them. And also, the entity is very much deceived because of my economic status, as though this has anything to do with me. You're gang stalking me, and this is actually a very clever disguise by Christ Jesus, because you think that you can try me. And I am literally the one that's here to prosecute and expose them and what they do, how they do it, what they know while they're doing it, and what justice requires that you do about it, federal government. All right? It's currently 7:57 p.m. It is August 25th, 2025. This
7MLW993. License 32954J2. License 9F55943. This is a large truck, a commercial means of gang stalking. This large commercial truck, I took a picture of it at 7:14 p.m. and this is light activity. This is massive facilitation that this third party is engaging in. They are monitoring, they're engaging in criminal facilitation while the demons are pacing inside of Starbucks, pacing in the parking lot around me at Starbucks, and pacing on Vineyard Avenue at Starbucks, where I'm showing you inside. I'm being terrorized and molested with impossible light activity. Light activity, this flashing of light in the specific environment is relevant to what are, first of all, it's demonic, it's spiritually significant. These demons are engaging in, excuse the noise in the background, these demons are engaging in what is a satanic system of monitoring. The entity is already surrounding with a method of peculiarized light, as I have termed it, a method of some sort of flashing of light, and it's the entity is engaging in this with regard to the specific environment. So this flashing of light, this is taking it out of what you are conditioned to see it as, especially in California, where surveillance is underway via traffic on the roads and the highways. And so you'll have what is somebody with their car disabled on the side of the road with flashing hazards on. You'll have the entity engaging what is criminal summoning with the method of light activity, flashing lights. You'll have the entity that's engaging what is the tow truck that comes and pick it up, the method of what is flashing light. The entity is engaging in what is construction that'll be in relevant position. This is a method of flashing of lights. The entity maintaining any signage. This is a method of what is flashing of lights. The entity is doing so while that pattern of conduct is occurring in that specific environment where I'm showing you, such as what you saw today, the fake sun at Starbucks, and doing so until sunset, which is also what I took a picture of at 7:13 p.m. And I am on the same Vineyard Avenue where the main entity is maintaining an absolutely absurd environment. And this is giving you the context, the significance of everything that I told you that the demon-possessed do. And this is speaking to the demon-possessed are mentally ill. This is a very specific type of mental illness. It is that which is psychologically harmful to other people whom the demon-possessed seek to terrorize, they seek to target, they seek to harm, and they derive pleasure from it. They are engaged in what is sexual violence. They derive pleasure from it. They're sexually aroused by it. They are engaging in what is stalking, obsessive stalking, in ways in which the untrained person does not recognize a person as being psychologically targeted and also targeted by purposes of stalking them, monitoring them. This is relevant to that mental illness, and the entity is doing so with this commercial means of this truck that's in the middle of the street, and it's maintaining light activity for all of the facilitating venues. Doubletree Hotel, the Del Mar Grill and Bar. It's also the entire shopping plaza where the Starbucks is encamped, surrounded by also the other venues inside. And some of those include, while I'm discussing them, I'll go ahead and name them because I documented them with regard to who all is in relevant position in the immediate environment. Because Starbucks is not gang stalking as an establishment by itself, Starbucks is engaging in state action, and that state is meaning, in other words, if I would have went across the street to Spike's, the restaurant, the fake sun would have been over that restaurant, across the street, over me, over the building that I'm inside of, and the demons would have been concentrating their patrolling, their pacing conduct, not traffic. You're understanding the context based on the specific environment that follows me. They're all stalking while they engage in their pacing all around me. All right, and they're doing this under the fake sun, and they're doing it while impossible light is aimed on me, aimed on the location where I'm at. And they're also doing more and more of it the more that I document them, the more that I expose the demon possessed, the more that I describe them in terms that they find not very complimentary, but it's the truth, and expose what it is that they're doing that they thought as demons operating in the spirit that you would never know. This is where they have this false sense of ego, false sense of self, that they're so elite, they're so secretive, they're so powerful, and they are so stupid. No, they're not. They're demons. They're nothing but thieves and pedophiles and stalkers. That's it. They're psychopaths. They're all under a fake sun, and they lie to themselves about what they are, and I'm exposing that, and that's relevant to the violence that I'm subject to as I expose it. You're going to prosecute for that. That is the demonic entity that's trying to murder you and get away with it through nobody knowing.
Okay, murder with no hands. Ooh, we're powerful because we do that. You're going to prosecute domestic terrorists and psychopaths that are demon-possessed or gang stalking. All right, and so this is what an entity is doing in that environment. In the middle of the street with the flashing lights on, that's facilitation. All of the venues are monitoring pursuant to that light activity, and it's pursuant to communication devices that are keeping me under surveillance as well, monitoring everything that I'm uploading on the internet. The entity is engaging in that, and it is beyond just Vineyard Avenue, but I documented the entity that's in my in the immediate environment. Mr. Fry's man, that third-party facilitating venue is remaining in relevant position, as I documented, and I am capturing also the Quick Mart at 101 North Vineyard Avenue in Ontario, California, 91764. Mr. Fry's man located at 111 North Vineyard Avenue, Suite B as in boy. It's adjacent to the Starbucks. The Spires Restaurant located at 104 North Vineyard Avenue, Ontario, California, directly across the street from the venue. They engaged in gang stalking me while the fake son remained over Starbucks, moving in the direction west, remaining over Starbucks in alignment with me in doing so, meaning not going anywhere. Okay, and I documented the fake son not going anywhere, from being over the top of my head to being at the same Starbucks in alignment to me setting after 7 p.m. Okay, this is the Ontario Airport Plaza, which is located at 101 North Vineyard Avenue in Ontario, California. The Motel 6, located at 231 North Vineyard Avenue in Ontario, California. And the entity is engaging in, again, the Mardell, what's the specific name of that venue, where I'm capturing the entity that is targeting. It is called the Del Mar Grill and Bar, excuse me. And they are monitoring as well. You're looking at the specific environment. You'll see it at 7:13 and 54 seconds. That's 19:13:54 on August 25th, 2025. This is all the evidence captured today. Okay, so in order to follow what it is that I'm talking about, I'm always talking about one day at a time unless I'm referring to a different day. So everything that I'm referring to, you can look right at it as I'm describing it and follow me logically with what it is that I'm describing. So at 7:13 and 54 seconds, you will see the fake son in alignment to me. This is evidence of Del Mar Grill and Bar gang stalking me, as the specific environment is stalking, following me, showing you all of the entity is following. That is the lamest term for stalking, okay? Following from place to place. And this is the documentation that I maintain in a podcast. The government stalking me from place to place. That's why I maintain this podcast, and I have for years. And this is the evidence of the government stalking me for years, as I maintain the evidence via podcast. This is the people of the state that are gang stalking, and that truck is parked in the middle of the street. Again, license 9F55943. And this is facilitation for the Folk Inn, the Doubletree Hotel, the Motel 6, the Del Mar Grill and Bar, the entire plaza, the child services at 191 North Vineyard Avenue. They're inside of the same plaza, the Ontario Airport Plaza. The entities maintaining this specific environment and its facilitation, engaging what is targeting me in particular, and the ability to identify that, the fact that the truck parked in the middle of the street across from Starbucks is about me, is the presence of that specific environment. It's the presence of that ridiculous light activity inside of Starbucks. That's how you are able to identify the fact that a target individual is not a paranoid schizophrenic. It's identifying the specific environment and understanding the relevance to who is being targeted there. There is no paranoid schizophrenia. And the demon-possessed psychopath project their mental illness onto the targeted individual. And they actually, as my documentation shows, are the paranoid demons who have consciousness of guilt while they're engaging in surveillance, and they know that they're being documented because they're engaged in criminal surveillance, keeping the evidence, my devices, and keeping ongoing surveillance on the internet. Okay? License 75185E3. License 8FNP168. License 6RMJ131. License 9MMV379. 8D89800. And I documented license 9PZJ554. This demon is stalking with the Ontario International Airport. The timing in order to touch. This is a sex offender. That again, the demons that are lying in wait, they're not coincidentally meeting you at an open space in order to touch you with light. This is how they're doing. This is what they're doing while the fake sun remains over me. They are touching with light is accomplished while engineer light is touching, covering me everywhere, and it's under the guise of what is a sunny day. It's not a sunny day. That's not the sun, and this is not sunlight that's covering everything. And they're stalking in the path while you're being touched with light. They're doing the same thing at nightfall. This is what the sex offender is doing. License 9PZJ554. And license 9ARV259. This is P.O.C.